You're listening to the FA Cup here on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. A brief word with our co-commentator, former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. Just on Ryan Lowe, do you feel that he's under pressure? There's lots of great out-of-work managers, Championship level, and maybe even Premier League level managers that would be interested in that job. Do you feel like a result here would maybe ease a bit of that pressure?
Oh, it would ease a lot of the pressure. As I say, this would be a massive shock for Preston to come here and beat the much spending Chelsea. But I do think he is under pressure, and I don't think it's just about results. I think there's a growing discontent about the style of play. I personally think that's slightly harsh. They're a bottom 8 budget team in the Championship. They had a great start to the season. With that comes expectation, but it is a very poor run, and we know that managers are out there, some very good ones at Championship level. So I mean, this would be absolutely fantastic for him if he was to get the result here.
Yeah, the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge sounding electric, hearing all the pre-match build-up, as I'm sure you've heard many, many times, Scott. Former Chelsea defender Scott Minto makes up your commentary team as we get ready for kick-off now here on Talksport 2. Joining Scott in the commentary booth for Talksport 2, it's Joe Shannon.
Thank you, John, and a spectacular light show here at Chelsea, and plumes of flame streaking up into the air as well from blue plinths that are sat either side of the halfway line. The two teams are out on the field of play, and at the Matthew Harding end of the ground, a banner with a wonderful photo of the late Gianluca Vialli, who so sadly left us last year, taken far too soon. When the ball hits the back of the Old Trafford net are the words on the banner, and then a photo of us celebrating Gianluca Vialli. Scott Minto, you played with Luca Vialli, a great man, a great footballer, and loved by everybody, not just at Stamford Bridge, but in the wider footballing world too. There was so much respect for him.
Absolutely. I played in that game actually at Old Trafford as well, where he scored the winner, and to say he was a world-class player and yet he was an even better person, I think pretty much sums him up. I could go on for hours about him, Joe, honestly, an absolute legend. And I got in contact with him during the Euros while him and Roberto Mancini were doing so well, and I was very surprised. He got immediately back to me before the game even kicked off, and we kept in touch during the Euros. So I personally was very emotional, even it had been years since I last saw him.
A big crowd here at Stamford Bridge on a chilly evening. The sun has long since set and the floodlights are shimmering down to the field of play below. We're high up in the East Stand, almost at the very back, and let me remind you the two teams. Chelsea all in blue with white socks, and Petrovic in goal. There is a full debut for young Alfie Gilchrist, who has come on as an injury time substitute in each of the last two games. He plays at right back. He says his dream has come true, but now he wants more when he has a first Chelsea start tonight. Disasi, Colwill and Gusto are the rest of the defenders. Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo in midfield. Sterling, Palmer and Mudryk behind Breuer up front. And there's a massive cheer for Gianluca Vialli as Stamford Bridge applauds the late great striker. His name was being read over the PA system there, and a tribute given to him by Lee Parker, who works for the club, the Chelsea public address announcer, and now his name is ringing around Stamford Bridge. Preston North End of the Championship have Woodman in goal, Story, Lindsay and Hughes the defenders, Potts and Miller the wing-backs, Brown, Whiteman and McCann in midfield, Osmaic and Keane up front. Maurizio Pochettino has pinpointed the FA Cup as a possible route into Europe for Chelsea, who of course are hoping for a far better calendar year than in 2023. Preston North End, twice winners of this competition, this their first trip to Stamford Bridge for 22 years, would you believe it, when they were beaten in the 5th round that season. The game is off and underway. Preston North End playing from left to right in the first half, all in red, and Chelsea all in blue with the White Sox playing from right to left. It's a warm press box here because we're wrapped up warm, but certainly a chilly night in the air at Stamford Bridge. One or two still arriving in the stadium, but it's great to have the 3rd round of the FA Cup back. It is the oldest and the best domestic cup competition in the world, and the only place where you want to be to hear all of the coverage this weekend is across the Talksport network. And by the end of the week, we'll have brought you 9 commentaries from the 3rd round. Early touch for Enzo Fernandez on the halfway line for Chelsea. Crossfield ball to the right. The far side and Alfie Gilchrist, who, as we expected, has started at right back. Disasi and Colwell, the centre-halves. And Malo Gusto to the left-back position, which was the position when he played here of the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto alongside me.
Well, I wasn't sure. I think all four players can play almost in all four positions, so I waited until I saw them line up before writing down on the piece of paper exactly where they're playing. You could say that Alfie Gilchrist is a centre-half naturally. You could have played him, and Malo Gusto right back, and Levi Colwell, although he is a centre-half, has been playing left-back all season, but it's a very versatile back four, there's no doubt about it. But you know, he's had a couple of touches already, Alfie Gilchrist, there's no doubt about it. In his full debut, he would have been pretty nervous, but he started well so far.
And Nkunku not in the squad tonight for Chelsea, who have such great injury issues. Preston North End on the attack, meanwhile, on the near side with Brad Potts looking to thread it forward towards Milutin Osmajic inside the penalty area. Levi Colwell comes across with great authority and confidence, sweeps the ball out of play via a slight nick off the boot of Potts. He's got his hair tied back in a ponytail, and it's out of play for a throw to Chelsea in their left back position. A steep drop down below us to the near side of the field where Gusto takes the throw. And now Moises Caicedo, wearing gloves, just shy of the halfway line, finds the blonde-haired Mykhailo Mudryk up towards Armando Broja. Back to the halfway line now, and Gusto. Good early start in possession from Chelsea. Chelsea nil, Preston North End nil. Just over 2 minutes gone, and we're live on Talksport 2. And Gusto's got the ball in the left-back position. He wriggles away from Alan Brown, the long-serving Alan Brown, the Preston North End captain. And now Gilchrist all the way on the far side of the field, the west side of Stamford Bridge, plays it infield to Enzo Fernandez with the red boots on, up towards Raheem Sterling, back to goal 10 yards inside the Preston North End half. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff City 0. Josh Windass with an early goal for Sheffield Wednesday in that all-championship FA Cup tie. We'll keep you up to date with the FA Cup ties at Swansea and Middlesbrough, the 5:30 kickoffs tonight as well. The key headlines earlier: Maidstone of the 6th tier through to the 4th round for the first time ever after beating League One Stevenage by a goal to nil. And in the Tyne-Weir derby, well, it wasn't much of a contest earlier, Sunderland 0, Newcastle 3, live on Talk Sport. We did bring you a thriller here on 2, where Brighton and Hove Albion were 4-2 winners at Stoke City. And now we're here in West London, and it's Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0 as Chelsea win a free kick on the halfway line.
Yeah, as you'd imagine, it's all Chelsea at the moment in terms of possession, but as you would also imagine, that Preston making sure they are very well organised and well structured. At the moment, Chelsea haven't really got into their final third.
Here is Sterling midway inside his own half the field. Gallagher, Madueke on the bench tonight for Chelsea. No Nicholas Jackson, he's away at AFCON now. Here is an opportunity for Enzo Fernandez down by the dead ball line. Will back heel towards the edge of the penalty area. It evades Mykhailo Mudryk, retrieved by Brown, the very dependable number 8. Close to 400 Preston appearances, and he floats it high to the halfway line where Potts is waiting. Potts from right to left towards the far side of the field where Liam Miller thought he had some space, but the ball well intercepted by Cole Palmer, who's been Chelsea's player of the season so far, I think, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely, he's been superb, but it was a half an opportunity for Preston to go on the counter-attack quickly, and that's what they're going to look to try and do. If Potter's ball had been better, it would have been a 3-on-3. So that's something I'm pretty sure they'll look to do, just sit back in that 5, but if they can counter really quickly, and Chelsea have got forward numbers, then maybe they can somehow isolate different defenders and somehow nick a goal.
4 wins from 5 for Chelsea, including the League Cup quarter-final victory on penalties here against Newcastle. 4 defeats from 5 for Preston North End. Here is Malo Gusto, lime green boots on, 5 yards inside opposition territory under no pressure whatsoever. Preston North End will sit with a flat back 5 and the 3 in front of them when they don't have the ball. Ryan Lowe, the head coach, a long way down below us on the near side of the field. Just to his right, Maurizio Pochettino with his arms folded. Chelsea have had all the early possession so far, but it's still 0-0 in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Raheem Sterling caught on the penalty area, blocked off by Ali McCann, who signed a new contract at Preston North End earlier this week. Sterling momentarily looked to the referee, who very quickly waved away any sort of penalty appeals. And now Brown wins a free kick inside the centre circle for Preston North End. It's still goalless. Thomas Bramall, by the way, is the referee.
Play on.
Play the advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Preston have just gone through a tackle there and played the ball out wide, and then they would have been on the attack. And I'm not quite sure why the referee didn't just let play. Just give it a couple of seconds, give it a beat, and just wait to see. Have a feel of the game. At the moment he hasn't, but it's very end-to-end. Chelsea obviously wanting to attack, but Preston looking, once they sit back and trying to pounce quickly. If they score that first goal, I'll tell you what, the atmosphere around Stamford Bridge will certainly change.
And Preston North End all in red tonight. They're being vociferously backed by the 6,000 supporters away to our left that are occupying both tiers of the shed end. And Scott, a former FA Cup winner with Chelsea back in 1997, here for the first game of the year at Stamford Bridge. We do think it is too late to say Happy New Year now. Am I right?
No, it's not. don't be Scrooge like Adrian Durham was earlier on.
That's why I said it to you when I came into the press room earlier.
If it's the first time you've seen someone this year.
Exactly. What if you have to wait until March to see them, though?
Well, that's a little bit too far.
Here is Gusto on the halfway line. Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0. Now, these two sides have met each other in the FA Cup before, as Chelsea win a free kick just inside Preston North End territory. Chelsea have won all 3 previous FA Cup meetings, most recently at Deepdale in January of 2010. This Preston North End's first trip to Stamford Bridge since 2002, when they were knocked out in the 5th round. Sterling on the burst, far side the right, evades Miller, low cross to the near post, cut out by Andrew Hughes, and that's going to drift behind and away for a Chelsea throw, far side of the field, level with the edge of the 18-yard box, 0-0.
Look, let's get it right. Every single Chelsea player should be dominating every single opposition Preston player here, but it's not always easy if a team is well organised. But if there's one particular position here that I would say give someone the ball, it is Raheem Sterling up against Liam Miller, who is a winger himself. He's not a defender. So Sterling should be trying to scream and get on the ball as much as possible, just as he did there, and showed his pace.
Yes, I've seen Preston North End on a few occasions this season as part of Talksport 2's coverage of the EFL, and they can be exposed in that left wing back position when Miller's playing on that side. He's certainly far more adept at getting forward, and Preston North End have struggled defensively in recent times. Their very good start to the season, brilliant early form in the Championship, feels a long time ago, and only 1 clean sheet in 20 games. They were beaten by Sunderland on New Year's Day. Chelsea were 3-2 winners at Luton to end the year. Here's Sterling for Chelsea, 5 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Sterling held up by 3 red shirts around him. Goes back to Gilchrist. Now Palmer infield with the pass from the right-hand side. Blocked off by Hughes, and the ball retrieved in the middle of midfield by Ben Whiteman, the Preston North End number 4. Sitting deepest of the central midfield players. Now Lindsay with the long sleeves on. Out to the far side, the left, and Miller, who has got a bandage on his right wrist. Ryan Lowe, the Preston manager, watches on from the near side touchline. His team have possession as Whiteman slid in to keep the ball in front of the pacey Mudryk. And now Story back to Whiteman, midway inside his own half the field. And these touches of the ball, these neat triangular passes from Preston North End, will give them confidence as we tick towards the 9th minute with the score still 0-0 on Talksport 2.
Absolutely, they've got to try and keep the ball as much as possible and quieten the crowd, not give the ball away, but certainly can't afford to make any mistakes, not try and play out from the back. If the Chelsea are going to beat Preston, it needs to be trying to open them up with good football. But I just saw earlier Raheem Sterling getting the ball again. Cole Palmer went towards him. He's just got to stay away. If Raheem Sterling has got a chance of a one-on-one with Liam Miller, stay away and let him try and take him on every single time.
Good tackle by Potts, sliding in the right wing-back position to win it back off Malo Gusto. And Potts has gone down. He's on his knees momentarily here. He looks towards the bench as if to say, should I stay down? And eventually Story, the right-sided centre-half, puts the ball out of play. It is a genuine injury, and Potts is holding his left knee. He's a player who has had injury issues actually in the past, and the 2 Preston North End physios are standing on the edge of the touchline. I don't think they're actually going to come on just yet. Potts is going to limp to his feet, and it looks like he should be able to carry on without any further treatment.
Yeah, and that's important for Preston. He's a really important player. Can play in midfield, can play at full-back, can play in that wing-back position as well. You know, he's got the most touches in the opposition box, open play crosses, and possession won for Preston this season in the Championship. So, you know, despite him being out wide, he's a really important player for this side.
It's been a cracking day of FA Cup football on the Talksport network. Make sure you get the Talksport app. Free and easy to download, and then you can swipe between both stations at your leisure. Lovely crossfield ball by Potts. Right-hand touchline to the left-hand touchline, the far side to find Miller. Miller, the exciting attacking left wing-back, taking on Gilchrist, the Chelsea full debutant tonight. Made a couple of substitute appearances for Chelsea so far. Alfie Gilchrist, who was born in Kingston upon Thames and has had his dream of playing for Chelsea come through. come true rather. But this is a different situation altogether. Your full home debut. High ball in by Andrew Hughes from the left-hand side for Preston. It bounces down inside the penalty area, nodded clear by Malo Gusto, and that's a Preston North End throw, about 10 yards from the corner flag in front of the Matthew Harding end.
And I just talked about how Raheem Sterling will want to try and isolate Liam Miller one-on-one. Well, Liam Miller will want to try and isolate Alfred Gilchrist one-on-one. Gilchrist, to be fair, defended really well there, but Miller wants to try and get forward and just try and take him on as much as possible.
A packed house at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea win a free kick. Caicedo draws the foul midway inside his own half of the field. And Mauricio Pochettino said that this competition is really important to his Chelsea side this season, particularly, you would think, because of their poor start to the Premier League campaign. Chelsea are 11 points off 5th place, but if you win the FA Cup, you get Europa League football for next season. So this competition that has given Chelsea so much success in the past, they've won it 8 times prior to this season, could be really important for them again, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the Carabao Cup coming up, the semi-finals, both legs, so they'll be looking to try and get into the final there. The FA Cup obviously will be exciting. We know that Chelsea fans love this competition, but it's still the league where you judge a team, really, Joe, and it's not been good enough. And yet in the second half of the season, if they go on a pretty decent run, they're only 3 points off 7th, they're 6 points off a Europa League place, and 5th and 4th probably a little bit too far away. 5th, of course, is a potential Champions League place, but I think the second half of the season just really important to build on for next season.
High ball forward by Gusto, headed away by Lindsay from the edge of the Preston North End penalty area. Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0 in the third round of the FA Cup, live on Talksport 2. 12 and a half minutes gone. Lovely back heel by Mudryk to set up Gusto. First time high, hanging left-footed cross. Headed away by Miller, not convincingly. Cole Palmer is there to nudge it to his right, and Sterling. Right-hand edge of the area. Dead ball line now, Sterling. Through the legs of Miller. Miller just about got a little nudge on the ball. Sterling nutmegged him, but Miller stuck out a leg, poked it away, and then actually he wins the free kick after a slightly clumsy late challenge by Sterling. And predictably, those 6,000 Preston North End fans who've made the long trip down the motorway from Lancashire are loving every minute of that.
Yeah, brilliant support, isn't it, from Preston North End? There's no doubt about that. And really good play from Liam Miller as well. First of all, defensively, as I say here, the last thing he'll want is Raheem Sterling running at him, and it looked like he was just going to get past him, but he didn't. He poked a toe, and then in the end the ball came back to him, did a bit of skill, and Raheem Sterling was the one who jumped in and made the foul. Good play from the left wing back there.
A good flick by Osmajic, the strike partner of Keane, to find Keane, the former Manchester United man, on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Shrugged aside very quickly, though, by Levi Colwill, and Chelsea have it back in the left-back position with Malo Gusto now. Gusto thought about going back to the goalkeeper Petrovic, eventually rolls the ball forward low along the ground up to the halfway line where Armando Broja is waiting. The Albanian drops back into the midway position inside his own half and plays it to the right-hand side in Gilchrist. Good hold-up football there by Armando Broja, and you just feel he needs a run of games in this Chelsea side. He has not exactly had a plentiful number of starts in his Chelsea career. This is only his 8th. And he's had all sorts of injury issues to contend with, as we know, Scott.
No, he has. He came back in September, didn't he? And obviously, it's not easy coming straight back in after a long injury, but he will have the opportunity with Nicholas Jackson being at AFCON as well. So, Christopher Nkunku's not a natural number 9. Not quite sure if he's injured with him not being in the squad here. Maybe he's picked up something or just wants to do extra training. But I think it's a wonderful opportunity for him.
I think they're certainly monitoring Nkunku carefully after the fitness issues that have plagued his Chelsea career so far. Floated ball forward up the inside right channel by Cole Palmer, is headed away by Andrew Hughes for Preston North End. Hughes clips the ball forward long towards the halfway line, and it's Axel Disasi in the way, spinning, almost a full 360 spin from Disasi as he cleared the ball away, not entirely convincingly, and Preston North End are on the attack on the far side, the left, with Miller. Miller's got the pace to take on Gilchrist. Gilchrist sticking to the task diligently. Miller plays the ball backwards now towards the halfway line. Ali McCann's little touch to find Andrew Hughes, and here's Liam Lindsay at the lip of the centre circle. Angles the ball wide to the near side, the right, and Potts via the touch of Jordan Storey. Potts up the near side touchline with the pass, easily retrieved by Colwill in front of Keane. I think Keane, the body language of the man, he knew he was beaten there. Colwill sends it back to Petrovic. Petrovic, the goalkeeper, though, with a hurried clearance straight to Potts. Preston North End back on the attack. 0-0 the score, 15 and a half minutes gone on Talksport 2. the Championship side looking to cause a shock at Stamford Bridge. And here is Potts down by the dead ball line with his back to goal. He plays it back to Jordan Storey. First time cross, missed by Colwill. It dropped towards McCann, who couldn't get the shot away. And now Enzo Fernandez has to spin away from Potts, who immediately puts the pressure on Moises Caicedo. Caicedo down by his own corner flag. He's looking towards the assistant, feels that he's got an arm in the back from Potts, who did brilliantly there, and then Keane came across. Eventually Caicedo wins Chelsea a throw, but you have to say Preston North End playing with a great deal of confidence early on in this third round tie.
Well, the confidence is growing and growing, and it's really well played first 15 minutes. You know, Chelsea haven't had a shot on or off target yet, so there's no doubt about it. Freddie Woodman and Ryan Lowe in particular be absolutely delighted. Chelsea have had a lot of possession, almost 70%, but they haven't broken Preston down, and now Preston are feeling, as you say, more and more confident. They're in the final third of Chelsea, and maybe they can create the first chance of the game.
Here's Alan Brown, led with the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, back out wide to the near side, and Potts again. Potts, who joined Preston North End from Barnsley in 2019, used to play his football at Carlisle United. Given away though by Andy Hughes, and Preston are under pressure now. It's come to Raheem Sterling, right on edge of the area, onto young Alfie Gilchrist, who pulls it back. Sterling deflected effort, loops into the air, and it's gathered by the goalkeeper Woodman. That's the first big chance of the game so far, and Sterling's effort, via the deflection, it had all the sting taken out of it, and in the end a simple save for Woodman. Good work though from the full debutant Gilchrist in the build-up. 0-0.
Yeah, really good play from Gilchrist. He'll get a lot of confidence from that, bombing down the right, having a little 1-2 with Raheem Sterling, and I think it was Liam Lindsay who got his body in the way there. Really important, because that was heading towards goal. Not quite sure if Freddie Woodman would have been able to get there, but it just took the sting off the shot, which meant it looped up into Woodman's hands. So good defending again from Preston.
And quite a lively energy to the game. Liam Miller hugging the touchline and driving in field from the far side to left. There are three other 5:30 kickoffs in the third round of the FA Cup this evening. And here's Miller for Preston North End, shooting the edge of the penalty area. It's gathered easily by Petrovic inside the 6-yard box. Clever knockdown from Milutin Osmajic to find his strike partner Will Keane, who didn't really get enough behind the shot as he looked for his 7th goal of the season so far. And Petrovic, who has impressed since taking the gloves from Robert Sanchez in the Chelsea goal. Sanchez still out injured, had a simple save to make.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be interesting when Robert Sanchez comes back, because Petrovic has played so well, whether he keeps his place or not. But I'll tell you what, although it was a reasonably simple save, Will Keane and Preston again will be gaining more and more confidence. They're able to get a shot on target.
One clean sheet for Georgi Petrovic so far since his run of starts in the Chelsea side. Here is Palmer for Chelsea at the other end of the field, corner of the penalty area, out wide to Sterling. Sterling plays it back to Gilchrist. No player in red anywhere near Alfie Gilchrist as he steps on the ball and plays it infield a couple of yards to Enzo Fernandez. Some noise from the Chelsea supporters. Chelsea playing from right to left towards the shed end in the first half. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff City 0. It remains in the FA Cup. Swansea City 0, Morecambe 0, a latest score. Luke Williams on the touchline for the first time as Swansea boss. Chelsea on the attack against Preston North End. Mudryk on the edge of the D, forward to Sterling, faced up by a sea of red, plays it back to Palmer. Palmer looks to play an incisive pass through the middle, smuggled away, not once, twice by Brown, but it's come back to Sterling inside the box again. He rifles in the shot, and it's tipped over by the goalkeeper. Preston North End thought they'd done enough. Alan Brown tried to force his way out of defence. He couldn't do that, and then Sterling lashed it goalwards, tipped over by Woodman. Corner for Chelsea, 0-0.
I don't think there'll be any shame in sometimes just booting the ball away, and they didn't, Preston, and in the end the ball fell to Raheem Sterling. Really good shot, decent save that from Woodman.
Cole Palmer will take the corner for Chelsea in front of the Preston North End fans, in towards the near post, headed away by Keane. Poor delivery really from Palmer. Keane was the first man, and he was able to nod it away with relative ease. Let's get an update for you from the Riverside in the FA Cup. Middlesbrough against Aston Villa. Talksport 2's Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 20 minutes gone here, Joe. Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 0. It's been all Villa, really. Had a couple of efforts at goal. Duran from a narrow angle fired a fierce shot that Glover did well to save. Then Cash had a shot cleared off the line. At the other end, Borough looking to play on the break. One ball over the top. Bangura, though, made a real mess of it when he was in with a chance to shoot from close range. Still, Borough 0, Villa 0.
And that's an intriguing tie tonight in the FA Cup. Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough against Villa, who've had this wonderful Premier League season so far. Great reverse ball up the inside right channel by Palmer for Chelsea to find Breuer. Breuer, a willing runner, holds the ball up, and he is eventually forced out wide, where he wins the throw off Liam Miller, and Chelsea have it back again. Good spell in possession is for Chelsea, 0-0.
Yeah, do you know what? We talk about Alpha Gilchrist wanting to impress, but there's a lot of players in this Chelsea side, both young pros and senior pros, that will want to impress as well. You know, there's Breuer up front, there's Raheem Sterling, who I thought started the season really well, but has completely fallen away. Mudryk obviously trying to justify his fee. And then you've got Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, who, you know, not pulling up any trees this season. So this should be the perfect game for them. At the moment, find it difficult.
Great ball, Enzo Fernandez. Palmer is in through the middle. He's dinked it over the goalkeeper, but wide. Defence-splitting pass from Enzo Fernandez. Totally eluded the Preston back line. He dinked it beautifully towards Cole Palmer, who chipped the goalkeeper, but couldn't find the target, unlike Cole Palmer, who's been in super goal-scoring form for Chelsea so far this season, and it stays 0-0 in the 22nd minute.
Well, both teams have had a shot on target, but that's the best chance of the game so far. I just talked about Enzo Fernandez. That's what he is capable of, but it needs attacking players to make those type of runs. Who else but Cole Palmer, who's Chelsea's best player at the moment? And you wouldn't want anyone else other than Cole Palmer in that position. And yet what happens? He somehow just stabs the ball wide. Fair play to Freddie Woodman. The one time they've really beaten the Preston defence, the keeper's come out and done very well.
Freddie Woodman, who is the son of the former goalkeeper Andy Woodman, and the godson of Gareth Southgate, would you believe it? Because Andy Woodman and Gareth Southgate know each other very well. I think they were coming through at Crystal Palace a long time ago, so that friendship goes back a long way.
Yeah, Alan Pardew you can throw in there as well. A little bit of a different age, but definitely they're all very, very close, with going back to many a year, back to the Palace days.
Well, there's a jubilance about the Preston North End fans at the moment. They're determined to enjoy their day out in the capital, and why not? 6,000 supporters on their feet away to the left-hand side, and still 0-0 away at Premier League Chelsea.
Well, they should be absolutely delighted. We are a quarter of the way through the game, and, you know, apart from that one real incident and that other Freddie Woodman save, you have to say, I think Preston have been excellent. And not just sitting back. It's not defence versus attack here. They are trying to counter-attack when they possibly can. At the moment, yeah, Ryan Lobe delighted with what's happened.
And Chelsea have dominated possession, as you'd expect. 2/3 of the ball so far for Chelsea. Manchester City against Huddersfield in the FA Cup will be with the holders in the third round tomorrow on Talksport at 2 o'clock, and that is followed by Arsenal against Liverpool, one of the ties of the round that is exclusive to Talksport. You can't hear it on national radio anywhere else. And on Monday evening, it's Wigan against Manchester United. Monday morning, Jeff Stelling is back on Talksport Breakfast with Adi McCoist to look back on the weekend's action and build up to that big game at Wigan Athletic that will bring you live. Chelsea have the ball with Disasi down by his own corner flag, scoops it away, not very far, come to Brown, 25 yards out, Keane, edge of the box, onto his right foot, thought about a shot, forced wide by Colwell, and then a little flick by Brown is dispossessed by Caicedo. Gusto looking to launch a counter-attacking charge for Chelsea. Gusto was caught by Potts. There were words exchanged between the two. Referee Thomas Bramble says, get up, get on with it. Long diagonal ball, high through the dark evening sky by Enzo Fernandez. This time it's overhit towards Raheem Sterling on the far side to right, and out of play it goes for a Preston North End throw in that left wing back position, and 0-0 it remains.
Yeah, I could see what Enzo Fernandez was trying to do, almost isolate Raheem Sterling, who had made the run. But it was a crossfield 50-yard pass, just overhit. And as I say, at the moment, apart from the couple of chances that Chelsea have had, Preston are feeling pretty comfortable.
Well, Chelsea generally do well in FA Cup ties against teams from lower divisions. Their last 18 such cup ties, Chelsea have made it safely through. The last time they didn't was one of the most infamous FA Cup upsets of all time. You'll remember it, Scott, when I tell you that 4-2 defeat at home to Bradford City in the 2014-15 season. And that year, Bradford, who were a League One side, were the only team to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, would you believe it? It's strange how these things happen like that. And amazing. Chelsea were 2-0 up at one point in that game.
Amazing.
That was an FA Cup shock in the fourth round The third round has been relatively light on shocks so far, but there was a big one at Maidstone, the 6th tier side beating League One Stevenage by a goal to nil. Well done to Maidstone, and
well
George Enakobi, their manager.
Brilliant, brilliant.
George Enakobi, who used to play in the Premier League for Wolves. In fact, I once saw him score a Premier League winner for Wolves against Chelsea at Molineux.
Well, living in Kent, I'm very pleased that a Kent side have done well. It's an amazing story, and I hope they get one of the big boys in the next round.
That's the exciting thing, and that's what's so special about the FA Cup. And we love the FA Cup here on the Talksport network. High, long ball by Colwell upfield towards Mudryk. He can sprint, but he can't sprint that quickly to keep it in play.
They're just forcing that ball, aren't they? Again, it's a big compliment to Preston how well organised they are. They're not able to sort of pass, 10, 15-yard passes or get little triangles going and work the way up the pitch. It's a couple of times now they've gone for that almost Hollywood pass, 40, 50 yard. It's been overhit. It's not an easy thing to do. Just need to get back to how they can get people on the ball, get options, running off the ball like we saw Cole Palmer as well. Not seen enough of that so far from Chelsea.
And for most of the first 26.5 minutes or so, the Championship team have looked pretty comfortable. Preston North End, who have dropped to 5 points off the playoffs now, down in 14th. It's quite a congested division. Little flick by Keane. Osmajic in the area. Angle tight, goes for goal, gathered by Petrovic. Osmajic might have done better with that. Flick on by Keane. Yes, the angle was against him, but in the end it's a relatively simple save, and Petrovic able to hold on to the ball as well.
Yeah, it was a tough angle, it really was, and he did hit the target, but you're right, Petrovic, if he's a goalkeeper for Chelsea, he should be saving that, but it was too easy, wasn't it? It was just from a goal kick, one simple flick on, and he's almost through on goal. I think the fact he was just a little bit too wide, if he'd taken an extra touch and maybe trusted his pace, even though perhaps the Chelsea defenders are quicker than him, just get that extra touch, get closer to goal and give Petrovic less chance to react.
Here's Gilchrist on the halfway line for Chelsea. Far side, their right. Gilchrist in front of the four-tiered West Stand. And now Disasi, gloves on, midway inside his own half the field. Square ball to his central defensive partner, Levi Colwell, who's played at left back for much of this season for Chelsea. Ben Chilwell still not able to return, and Kadi Chukwuemeka injured as well. Lovely floated pass by Palmer, up the inside right channel. Sterling pulls it across, only half cleared. Enzo Fernandez with the header should score. Straight at Woodman, but Enzo Fernandez inside the 6-yard box. He kicked the post in disappointment. The header was tame, it had no power whatsoever. Easy save for Woodman. Lovely build-up play for Chelsea, still 0-0.
Yeah, it was lovely build-up play again. It was Raheem Sterling down that right-hand side, and the ball was a little bit, by the time he wanted to try and cross it, a little bit too close to his feet. Wasn't the best of crosses, wasn't the best of defending, and it flicked up to Fernandez. And I think the fact that it had no pace on it, he had to generate that pace, made it more difficult for him. But no, he should be scoring from there, right in front of goal. He has scored with his head, of course, this season already. That was a poor header, a great opportunity to go one up.
3 goals for the season for the man who cost £106.8 million. Of course, he's not been brought to Chelsea as a goal scorer, but he should have found the back of the net there. And Palmer playing with such confidence in that royal blue shirt again. Here is Caicedo on the halfway line. Beneath the floodlights here, on one of the great weekends in the domestic footballing calendar, the FA Cup third round weekend. And we've got all of the action for you here on the Talksport network. Live on Talksport 2, Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0. Cole Palmer, midway inside the Preston half, infield from the right, finds Caicedo, lip of the centre circle, little flick back to Palmer again. Palmer looking to spin away from Ali McCann in the middle of the Preston half. Out wide to the right-hand side in Gilchrist. Little touch to Sterling. Preston North End defending with everybody. Barros March behind the ball. Long ball forward though by Enzo Fernandez, and Breuer spins, turns and shoots. It's blocked by Lindsay. And all of a sudden, Chelsea looked like they were in again. An excellent pass from Enzo Fernandez once more, just lofted up the middle. But it came to nothing eventually. And then Miller looking to go on the run on the far side. The sprightly Canadian, far side to Preston left, he's taken it out of play, and that's a Chelsea throw.
Yeah, Liam Miller will fancy his chances against Alpha Gilchrist. A couple of times now he's tried to take him on. Gilchrist looks like he has got the pace, but he's also got skill, Miller, so interesting battle, that one. But yeah, absolutely a great chance for Brozier down the other end. Found himself a little bit of space that he hasn't had so far. But in the end, it was very good positioning from the centre halves of Preston, and it was a very good block. But I'll tell you what, Joe, you talk about the third round of the FA Cup. I think there are 3 really special days in the English football calendars. First game of the season, always a little bit nervous, not sure how the season's going to go. There's Boxing Day following Christmas, which is always special as well. And then there's this one as well, third round of the FA Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. We are spoiled, really, at this time of year. Here's Mudryk looking to maraud towards the corner of the penalty area. Good tackle, tracking back by Ben Whiteman. And then it's cleared upfield by Potts. Osma actually to spin Colwill. Colwill ends up on the ground. Potts looks to play through the middle towards Keane. Only half cleared. Oh, the referee's given Preston North End the free kick belatedly, but he should have played the advantage, Thomas Bramall. Neither team is happy with the referee. Chelsea because they felt there was a foul on Colwill initially, but then once he said no free kick at that point, Thomas Bramall, he should let the game play, because Miller would have been in down the inside left channel and had a run one-on-one with Gilchrist towards goal.
Absolutely, it wasn't a foul on Colwill. Colwill thought it was, but no, he's got to be stronger there. And you know, it was good play actually by Osmajic. And you're right, just giving it a beat, just waiting a second or two for the referee. If he was able just to hold on, then you know, Liam Miller would have been almost through.
But he should have held on there, Thomas Bramall. It's a free kick to Preston North End, just inside Chelsea territory. 0-0 the score. Each of Chelsea's next 3 matches, by the way, live on Talksport. The 2-legged League Cup semi-final with Middlesbrough and the home game against Fulham sandwiched in between. The free kick was lofted towards the edge of the Chelsea penalty area and came to precisely nothing. Hammered high downfield by Malo Gusto. The ball screeching through the air. Armando Broja can't reach it. Hooked out of play by Liam Miller. That's a Chelsea throw midway inside Preston North End territory. And Preston North End will revert to type now and get those players in red shirts back behind the ball. Very well organised so far, Ryan Lowe's team. And as we were saying, they haven't kept many clean sheets at all. 1 in their last 20 games coming into tonight. Here is Malo Gusto.
Neither of Chelsea, so you're not expecting a 0-0, but it is so far after half an hour.
No, you're absolutely right. Here is Keane inside the centre circle, and Keane for Preston has steered the ball wide to the left-hand channel, and Gilchrist couldn't get there. Miller's beaten him to it. Miller into the box, angle against him, deflected cross. Gilchrist did well there because he knew he couldn't reach the initial ball, had to back off. Miller going at him one-on-one, and then when the cross came in, Alfie Gilchrist got a little touch on the ball to take all the sting out of the cross.
Yeah, you know what? The youngster did really well because he didn't want Liam Miller coming inside on his right foot, opening the goal up. And the cross sort of came over, but it was a deflection off Gilchrist as well, so really good from the youngster.
Miller in possession again on the far side. Level the edge of the 18-yard area. Back it goes to Hughes. Now on the halfway line is Lindsay. Everybody in the Chelsea half now, bar Lindsay and the Preston North End goalkeeper Freddie Woodman, all in grey. Preston North End playing from left to right as we look at it, towards the Matthew Harding end of Stamford Bridge. Lots of banners behind that goal, commemorating Chelsea legends gone by. Didier Drogba, John Terry, Frank Lampard, John Obi Mikel, Kerry Dixon, and there was a wonderful banner earlier before the game for the late Gianluca Vialli. Here is Potts for Preston North End. Angles the ball back in field to Story, and now Brown pointing the way forward from midway inside the Chelsea half. Wide it goes to the near side, the right, and Potts again. Brown hoists the ball in high, right-footed, very comfortable, cushioned little touch off his chest by Gilchrist. Excellent composure to send it back to his goalkeeper. You have to admire Preston North End so far. They certainly don't look overawed. Chelsea have been the dominant team in possession, as you would expect, but really, from a Chelsea perspective, just the one clear-cut opportunity in the first 34 minutes, Scott Minto.
Yeah, you know what, we expected this, or we certainly expected Chelsea to have all the possession. We just wonder whether they were able to break Preston down, and there's been a couple of opportunities. Raheem Sterling has had that shot. Cole Palmer obviously had that one-on-one situation, but generally speaking, you're up against Chelsea, who have spent £1 billion. They're going to create chances, but considering what's happened and where both teams are and in terms of the form they're in at the moment, I think Ryan Lowe would be absolutely delighted with this.
And Chelsea on the attack, midway inside the Preston North End half at walking pace. Suddenly Palmer threads the ball up to the dead ball line. Sterling cuts it back, high towards Broja, headed away by Lindsay. And Ali McCann flicks the ball out to the left, and Miller, whose touch is heavy, one back by Gilchrist, just dinks it down the right-hand side, scooped up into that dark evening sky by McCann, and straight out of play for a Chelsea throw. And Preston North End defending admirably for the most part against a Chelsea side who create plenty, probably should score more than they do, but as Scott was saying, they concede plenty as well. 61 Premier League goals they let in 2023, the most they conceded in the Premier League in a calendar year since 1991, so the most in a calendar year in their Premier League history. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff 0 remains the latest score. Swansea 0, Morecambe 0 in the third round of the FA Cup. And Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0 here. Header away by Story for Preston North End, up to the halfway line. Little deflection off Caicedo, and Disasi has to come across from the right-sided centre-half position to left back, gets in front of Alan Brown and shepherds it back to the goalkeeper, George Petrovic. And Petrovic long, high punt downfield towards halfway, and Cole Palmer angles it towards the right, and Breuer's got there first in front of Lindsay. Lindsay gets a half tackle in. Breuer held it up well initially, but eventually McCann was tracking back. Breuer sandwiched in between two red shirts, and he couldn't hold on to the ball. Let's get the latest from the Riverside in the FA Cup with Talksport 2's Mark Wilson.
Still Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 0, but a flurry of chances. Jacob Ramsey from a tight angle forces a smart save from Glover from the corner. A great header from Dendoncker, inches over the top. Then John Duran had a 25-yard effort, well saved. At the other end, just seen Emi Martinez make a smart save from Morgan Rogers. Decent game this, 36 gone, Middlesbrough 0, Villa 0.
Thanks, Mark. We haven't missed anything here at Stamford Bridge. It remains scoreless, but Preston North End are in possession, growing in confidence, you have to say, as the game wears on here. And it's a really intriguing first half this. I have enjoyed it, Scott Minto, despite the lack of overall goal-mouth action.
Yeah, and I think Preston are getting more and more confident. They just got to be careful when they have the ball, that perhaps Chelsea on the counter-attack. But at the moment, they're the team that believe they can get that first goal.
Great roar from the Preston North End fans as they win their first corner of the evening. It's Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0 in the FA Cup on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Now then, what can Preston North End do from the corner? A lot of aerial ability in the team, not just Kenan Osmaic, but the three centre-halves, Lindsay, Story and Hughes as well. Lindsay scored 3 times this season. He's a genuine aerial threat. Whiteman to take the corner, right-footed in swinging, in towards the far post, headed away. It's come out to Miller on the edge of the D. Great ball wide to the near side, and Potts to whip it in high to the far post, and Whiteman, he heads it back across. Lindsay flicks it on. Up goes Will Keane, trying to hook it goalwards. Oh, and then an ugly slice clearance by Enzo Fernandez, who'll do well to keep it in play down on the near side of the field. He gets it away, not very far. Preston North End have it back again, midway inside the Chelsea half. There was a lack of organisation about Chelsea defending that corner.
And you can hear the Preston fans more than you can the Chelsea fans.
Oh, but now there's a break on here for Chelsea with Sterling. Oh, he's tackled by McCann. McCann wins it back with great efficiency and great tenacity. And now Miller attacking down the far side of the left. Another one-on-one with Gilchrist. Gilchrist having the better of it so far, and actually credit to Raheem Sterling helping out his younger colleague to win it back for Chelsea. And Palmer's nutmegged McCann in a tiny little pocket of space on the far side right touchline. And he's nudged the ball infield to Caicedo. That was a classy bit of play from Cole Palmer. And Colwell's hammered it long towards the left-hand touchline. Too much on it for Mudryk again. Chelsea, as the half goes on, fading a little as an attacking force. Preston North End will be much the happier of the two teams so far, 0-0.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I think Preston, we talked about growing in confidence in the first 15 minutes, but right now they believe they can win this game. You know, they're on the attack, they're passing the ball really well. Chelsea are trying to force it at times. Another one there with Levi Colwell trying to play Mudryk in behind, and Potts had defended deep, as a good defender should. The ball just wasn't on. At the moment, Chelsea just devoid of ideas. Just get the ball down, play, but play 1-2 touch. Get Cole Palmer involved, try and isolate again, like we saw the first 10 minutes, Raheem Sterling and Liam Miller. At the moment, it's Miller running at Gilchrist and not Sterling running at Miller.
We've got 9 commentaries from the third round of the FA Cup across the long weekend, Thursday to Monday. Chelsea on the attack, 0-0 against Championship Preston. Palmer edge of the penalty area, skips beyond 2 in red, wide to Sterling. Sterling corner of the box again. He's held up, he's at walking pace here, Sterling. He's only got Palmer in support. Had to go back to Palmer on the edge of the area. Twist beyond McCann, onto his less favoured right foot. Couldn't find Sterling, cleared away by Miller, and then McCann to hoist it high towards the halfway line. Chelsea with Disasi coming across to win it back. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Cardiff City 0 elsewhere in the FA Cup third round. An own goal from Roman Romain Sawyers has doubled Sheffield Wednesday's lead, and you're up to date. Chelsea have it back again. That Sterling battle down the right-hand side with Miller is proving an interesting one. And actually Miller, we didn't exactly credit him too much in terms of his defensive abilities prior to the game starting, but he's done very well so far, Scott Minter.
You know what, he's done really well. I played that wing-back position and it took a few years off my career, let me tell you, where you have to attack against the fullback and defend against their winger, but he's actually doing really well. Raheem Sterling a couple of times, but more so in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, went past him. Since then, he's been able to handle Sterling, and actually he's trying to take Chelsea the other way, and certainly Gilchrist as well. So it's a very difficult job to do, that wing-back position, but he's doing it very well at the moment.
Scott Minto, an FA Cup winner in 1997, the game where Roberto Di Matteo put Chelsea in front against Middlesbrough after 43 seconds.
That was incredible, I must admit.
Well, you must feel your name's on the trophy when you get a moment like that.
Well, we almost got a bit too comfortable and didn't score the second until around about the 84th minute. I remember Juninho having a decent chance as well, and our keeper, who's actually a good quiz question. Do you know who the Chelsea goalkeeper was in the 97 final?
I'm going to say Kevin Hitchcock. Come back to me on that in a second. Here is Sterling marauding up to the corner of the penalty area, twisting beyond Miller. Sterling to the dead ball line, whips in the cross. That's going to go behind and away for a goal kick.
Sal, do you know?
Sal, our producer.
No, he's saying Ed de Hoy. Frode Grodus.
Frode Grodus. Was he was the Norwegian, wasn't he?
He was.
Well, I didn't expect that. Was Kevin Hitchcock in the squad?
Hitchy would have been there, absolutely.
Kevin Hitchcock, who is the former goalkeeping coach of Chelsea's goalkeeper today, Georgi Petrovic. They worked together at New England Revolution.
Yeah, he's over there in the States, doing very well.
It's a small world, isn't it, this footballing world that we all inhabit. 0-0 then here, Chelsea against Preston North End, and all credit to the visitors from Lancashire so far, the 2 times winners of the FA Cup, a proud history in this competition. Preston North End, they reached the 4th round last season, where eventually they were beaten at home by Tottenham Hotspur, aiming to cause a big shock tonight. Chelsea a little laboured to finish the first half here, and in what is a very important game for them for all sorts of reasons. We know how important the FA Cup is for Chelsea in any season, but particularly this year as a potential route to European football. Little flick by Mudryk down the near side, the left to find Gusto, shrugged aside by Story. There was certainly an arm in the back there, but the referee says get on with it. It's a Preston North End throw. Last touch came off the Frenchman Gusto.
Now, I also think when you're doing so poorly in the league, just to try and get a good cup run and win a cup itself gives a real boost of confidence, something which Chelsea Football Club needs right now. So, yeah, I do hope they go all the way in the Carabao Cup, and certainly need to see off Preston, but tell you what, they're making a game of it.
Here is Miller for Preston North End, midway inside the Chelsea half, 10 yards infield from the far side. Sterling showing him on the outside, little back heel to Andrew Hughes. Andrew Hughes floats in the cross, headed away by Gilchrist for Chelsea. It's dropped down to Whiteman, cushions the header square to the far side, the left, and Miller again. Miller plays it backwards now to Hughes. Chelsea got everybody back behind the ball. Chelsea a bit pedestrian at the moment in the game. 90 seconds of normal time left in the first half on Talksport 2. Potts, little nudge in field to find Brown. Brown always capable of picking a pass, the Irishman, the international. And this his 397th Preston North End appearance, and he's only 28. That's how consistent he's been. That looked like a shove in the back by Gusto on Potts, it was, and that'll be a free kick to Preston North End in a dangerous attacking position, right wing position near side of the field. Just over a minute of normal time to go in the first half.
Well, I'll tell you what, 44 minutes on the clock. If they were to get a goal here, that would certainly turn the atmosphere. I mean, the Preston fans couldn't be any louder. They've been absolutely superb from start to right now, but I'll tell you what, the fans, Chelsea fans, going in at half-time, if they were to 1-0 down, would certainly let their frustrations be known. Very important for Chelsea not to concede here.
Everybody back for Chelsea. Plenty forward, though, for Preston North End along the 18-yard line. Ben Whiteman is over the free kick. Potts is free down the right just in front of him if they want to play it forward. Eventually, though, Whiteman whips the ball in and it's a terrible free kick. Cleared away by the first man, Sterling. It's come back out wide to Whiteman again, who might get a second opportunity to cross. The score is 0-0. Whiteman better ball in. Well claimed, though, by Petrovic on the edge of his 6-yard box. Good authoritative goalkeeping from the Chelsea man. And he throws the ball out over arm to the left-back position where Gusto is waiting. You can see Maurizio Pochettino, steep drop to the touchline below with his arms folded. A minute of added time at the end of the first half here at Stamford Bridge. And Chelsea started with purpose in possession. They have created chances, albeit only one clear-cut chance, really. And that aside, Preston North End have been pretty comfortable, and there is a bit of an exodus of the Chelsea fans in front of us here. We're only a row behind the crowd in the upper tier in the East Stand, and lots of them heading to the concourse areas just below us. Chelsea have it with Palmer. 30 seconds of the first half left. Twists away from McCann, darts up the far side channel, then shapes the cut back in field. Square ball to Enzo Fernandez. Back now to Caicedo. On to Malo Gusto. 25 yards out, left of centre. Preston North End with all in red back behind the ball here, right at the end of the first half. Mikhailo Mudryk for Chelsea. Whips the ball into the edge of the penalty area, cleared away by Lindsay. Second ball retrieved by Caicedo. 10 seconds of the first half to go. Caicedo, middle of the Preston North End half. Wide to the right and Palmer. Palmer in field. Flicks the ball high into the area, gathered by Freddie Woodman. That'll probably do it, and indeed that is the half-time whistle. And cheers from the shed end where the 6,000 away supporters are, and they really believe that a cup shock could be on this evening at Stamford Bridge. Very muted reaction from the home supporters. There might even have been one or two boos, because Chelsea with a rather flat first half display in which they've only created one big chance against championship opposition. Cole Palmer, in fairness, should have scored after Enzo Fernandez played a defence-splitting pass up the middle, but he could only dink the ball wide. Raheem Sterling has had an effort saved. Fernandez should have scored with a header from 6 yards out, but could only glance it into the gloves of the goalkeeper Freddie Woodman. And maybe Preston North End deserve that little bit of luck, because they've been hard to beat, they've been robust, they've been well organised, had a couple of half opportunities on the break themselves, and growing in confidence as that first half wore on that something special could happen in West London for them tonight. At the break on Talksport 2 in the third round of the FA Cup, it's Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0.
Thank you very much, Joe Shannon. First half analysis coming up with former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. But we go over to the game between Middlesbrough and Aston Villa. Mark Wilson at the Riverside for Talksport. There we go.
Yeah, it is half-time here. Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 0, but a really decent game developing. Villa dominated early on, but only really had one effort from John Duran to show for it. Good save from Glover at the near post, denied him. Then the game levelled out a bit. There was one good chance for Middlesbrough. Great pass from Hackney inside his own area. Long diagonal. Bangura down the left-hand side. He's in on goal. Maybe should have taken it on his left foot. Tried to get it on his right. Then the chance went begging. Then Duran was denied again by a good Glover save. Ramsey went close. And from the corner, from that effort, then Donk headed inches over the top. And then Borough ended the half in the ascendancy, really. Good effort from Rodgers, was also saved by Emi Martinez. Then Rodgers volleyed wide from the edge of the box, and then right on half-time, Dan Barlaser, great skill, got him past McGinn on the halfway line. He fed him Bangura, put a great ball in, but Coburn couldn't turn it in, and Jones sliced wide at the far post. Villa's record in the FA Cup is awful. He's not showing any signs of improving here. Middlesbrough giving as good as they're getting at the break. It's Borough 0, Villa 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. Yeah, goalless in that game, goalless in our commentary game, also goalless in Swansea 0, Morecambe 0. Only goals at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday are 3-0 up at half-time over Cardiff City. So good half-time result so far for those guys, for the Owls. Former Chelsea defender Scott Minto, we discussed before the game the importance of Ryan Lowe getting a good result here with a bit of pressure on his back. I mean, going in at half-time, he could have wished for a little bit better. They could go in leading, but that's a pretty good result to get to half-time at Stamford Bridge.
John, your cop upset is on the card so far. That's what you're looking for.
I'm so sorry, yeah.
No, I get it completely. I just looked at half-time and the referee blew his whistle. There was a Chelsea fan just in front of us who stood up, and we looked at each other and both blew out our cheeks as if like, oh my goodness. You know, I have to say, if you're Ryan Lowe, you'd be absolutely delighted, because it's not just about the clean sheet so far in the first half. Yes, Chelsea have had a couple of chances, and Cole Palmer in particular and Enzo Fernandez should have stuck the ball in the back of the net. But actually, Preston look good going forward. They look comfortable on the ball. They look as if they're worthy of being at Stamford Bridge, and actually have that belief that they, at the very least, can get a draw out of this. And I have to say, they deservedly are drawing at the moment. Chelsea, yes, they've created probably the best chances, and there's been a couple of reasonably simple saves of Petrovic, but I think Preston, generally speaking, have played really well in that first half, both defensively and offensively.
When it comes to Chelsea, a lot of people have been talking about Alfie Gilchrist. I've seen online, on TikTok, believe it or not, that people were saying he's like a regen when you play FIFA of John Terry. I mean, what have you made of his first half performance?
Go on, no pressure there then. You want to get off TikTok, John, have to say, if that's what they're saying.
Yes.
Look, I mean, I think he's done really well. That's all I can say. I do know for a fact, I was speaking with a few people who work here at Chelsea, and they actually said, one of them in particular said, John Terry rates him very highly. I still think to compare him to John Terry, let's give him 10 years of brilliance first, and then we can do that. But all you can say so far in his full debut, he's done really well. He's playing out of position. He's a right back. He's not the tallest. He is a natural centre half, but he's not the tallest. But what he is, and I give credit to Liam Miller for this as well, because I talked about how it's not easy as a wing-back defending against the winger, Raheem Sterling, and then trying to attack against their full-back, which obviously is Alfie Gilchrist. But every time that Miller has run at Gilchrist, he hasn't got past him as yet. Miller looks dangerous going forward, and that's where he's at his best. But I think Gilchrist has looked very comfortable, both defensively and when he's tried to get forward as well, and worked well with Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, I think to be fair to people on TikTok, they were suggesting that the potential to be John Terry is there. Don't worry, I don't think they were quite comparing him to John Terry so far. Maybe he just likes to wear the full kit when he's not playing. Who knows? Maybe
even putting John Terry in any sentence with Alfie Gilchrist, I think, is a big shout.
Well, yeah, it's well, you never know. Well, let's talk in 10 years and we'll see where we're at with that one. When it comes to the second half, say Preston come out and somehow they manage to get a goal here. What's Maurizio Pochettino going to do? What's his reaction going to be? Will he be looking to the bench? I mean, obviously Madueke we talked about. He could be someone that could get involved. Also, they've got Conor Gallagher on the bench as well, who's very much been linked to Spurs, but is in the Chelsea squad and on the bench today. So, I mean, what potential options do you think Maurizio Pochettino would lean on if Preston were to come out and grab a goal?
Yeah, there's Ian Maatsen as well, but realistically, you've mentioned the two, Madueke and Conor Gallagher, and he won't really want to bring those players on. Clearly, along with Thiago Silva, he's trying to keep them fresh, but still while picking a very strong side. And look, there's Cole Palmer, there's Raheem Sterling, there's Mudryk, there's Caicedo, there's Fernandes. That should be good enough to beat a lower half championship side, but it hasn't been so far. So I'd be saying to the individual players, look, I mean, Cole Palmer, to be fair to him, he's trying to get on the ball as much as possible and make things happen, but there's, if not one, there's two people around him every time he gets on the ball. I've said they want to try and isolate Raheem Sterling and Liam Miller, take him the other way. He's a natural winger, he's not a fullback. For me, that's what you want to try and see. And once Raheem Sterling gets the ball, just get away from him, let him have space to try and take on Miller. But also Mudryk on the other side, hardly seen anything of him. There's also Enzo Fernandez. Yes, he had that chance, but I've not seen him dominating the game in the way that I want to. He should be dominating Premier League midfield. He's not dominating a bottom half championship midfield right now. Moises Caicedo is mopping up in front of the back four, but there's not a lot really to mop up with. And at times, though, Preston have looked dangerous on the break. So I just think going forward, they need to step it up. They need to put the intensity. Conor Gallagher, one thing he does do, without the ball as much as with the ball, he adds that intensity, gets the crowd going, and that can lift the whole team. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he and Madueke come on. But I just want to see more of the players that are already on the pitch and just play quicker, 1-2 touch football.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in that second half. Former Chelsea defender Scott Minto there will be back alongside Joe Shannon for second half commentary here on Talksport 2. Where next up we're going to take a look at some of the other games that have already finished today in the FA Cup third round.
The Emirates FA Cup live on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup and Adobe Women's FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Specsavers have asked me to tell you something important, so I've gone creative and dug out my old jack-in-the-box. It's about prices and how they jump up when you least expect them. I said, jump up when you least expect them. At Specsavers, glasses still start from £15. Not now, Jack, including standard single-vision lenses only. He's going to jump up now, isn't he? Oh well, you're better off with Specsavers. Oh, I knew it. Ask in store for details.
Just checking in, Money Super 7. Are you on the case?
All under control.
Where on earth are you?
Sorry, boss. Just testing the new rewards. We're giving customers a year of 3 days out worth £160 when they save on their car insurance, broadband and more. Like the zoo.
Well, keep up the research.
The Super Save Club from Money Supermarket. Seriously rewarding. Qualifying purchase with an account. 3 days out via app. Value based on one visit monthly. Average ticket £13 October 23. 17 plus UK only. See site for terms.
We've got savings to sink your toes into at the Carpetright half-price sale. Don't miss huge discounts on hundreds of carpets. Totally awesome. Sorry, we couldn't resist. With stores nationwide, you'll get your new floor right with Carpetright. At home, in-store, online. Excludes fitting and services. T's and C's apply.
Cammy, can you believe the Howdens Game Changer programme is back?
It's unbelievable, Jill.
Howdens is giving more grassroots football clubs a chance to receive a free kitchen.
And you could be part of it.
So if you want to give your local club a boost, go to howdens.com and search Game Changer now.
Get in there.
The Howdens Game Changer programme, transforming kitchens for clubs and communities. Applications close 31st of January. See eligibility criteria and full details at howdens.com.
The DFS winter sale is on. So if savings on sofas and beds float your boat, now's the right time to find the right thing at the right price. And until Wednesday, get 4 years interest-free credit on everything. DFS, what's your thing?
Pockets. Amazing, aren't they? I wonder what's in your pocket right now. Old bit of tissue? If. Picture of the family? How about a lottery ticket with 6 magic numbers? No? Don't worry, there's still time. This Saturday, it could be you. Lotto from the National Lottery. Play now. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Like to save on Aldi's fresh fruit and veg? Avocado, celery, red grapefruit, spring onions and mini potatoes. All from just 29p. Plus a Royal Gala apple 6-pack too. Hip hip hooray for Super 6 savings. Aldi, officially Which cheapest supermarket of the year. Products may vary by region, subject to availability.
Game day. Levitate above the humdrum.
FA Cup Game Day Live
on Talksport 2.
You're listening to Game Day Live here on Talksport 2. Second half commentary from Stamford Bridge coming up. Half-time score, Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0, Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 0 as well. Sheffield Wednesday, they are 3-0 up at home to Cardiff City. A Windass, a Sawyer's own goal and also a Palmer goal for Sheffield Wednesday mean that they are going to come out and hopefully maintain that lead if you're a Wednesday fan. Obviously, if you're a Bluebirds fan, you're probably going to want things to turn around, but it's not looking so good there. Some big results obviously earlier on in the FA Cup as well. We brought you live commentary of the big game, Sunderland versus Newcastle, earlier on Talksport. That was, a monumental occasion. We've heard all the build-up throughout the week. We've heard of the strange decision to rebrand one of Sunderland's lounges there with Newcastle decoration there, which was very quickly changed, and there was a huge discussion on the show earlier on about that. What an error of judgment that is from people behind the scenes there, but I don't think it will ever happen again. Anyway, let's move on and take a listen to how some of the other games have sounded here on the TalkSport network today in the FA Cup third round.
I still love the FA Cup, and third round Saturday, one of my favourite days in the football calendar.
These fans have been waiting for this for almost 8 years.
It's a day of utter Geordie jubilation. They're going to knock Sunderland out of the FA Cup.
Cup upset very much on the cards. Watford 0, Chesterfield 1.
Blackburn Rovers 5, Cambridge 2. It's another goal as well. This time it's Lyndon Dykes. Couple of minutes which has turned this FA Cup tie on its head. QPR lead 2-0.
Hits it right-footed and he buries it into the top left-hand corner, and 1,000 Eastleigh fans go absolutely mad. Newport 1, Eastleigh 1.
Southampton 4, Walsall 0. The Championship side extend their lead.
Decent match. Plymouth 3, Sutton 1, and it's Morgan Whittaker. Who else with it? Across the face of goal, Pedro! That's it! Brighton are in the fourth round for sure now. Stoke 2, Brighton 4. Brilliant cup tie.
QPR 2, Bournemouth 3. The comeback complete for Bournemouth.
Hull 1, Birmingham 1. Hull level with 3 minutes to go, and it's the man making his full debut, Matty Jacob.
Oh, absolutely devastating for Chesterfield. They were literally 80 seconds away from a replay, but it's Watford 2, Chesterfield 1.
Well, it's goalless in our game here. Chelsea versus Preston. Let's listen to the halftime highlights in partnership with Carling.
The Emirates FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup and Adobe Women's FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
A big crowd here at Stamford Bridge on a chilly evening. The sun has long since set and the floodlights are shimmering down to the field of play below. Given away though by Andy Hughes, and Preston are under pressure now. It's come to Raheem Sterling, right on edge of the area, onto young Alfie Gilchrist who pulls it back. Sterling deflected effort, loops into the air, and it's gathered by the goalkeeper Woodman. It ball Enzo Fernandez, Palmer is in through the middle. He's dinked it over the goalkeeper but wide. Defence-splitting pass from Enzo Fernandez. Lovely floated pass by Palmer up the inside right channel. Sterling pulls it across, only half cleared. Enzo Fernandez with the header should score. Straight at Woodman at the break on Talksport 2 in the third round of the FA Cup. It's Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0.
There we go, highlights, all thanks to Carling.
The Emirates FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup and Adobe Women's FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Well, the second half's about to get underway at Stamford Bridge, so let's go back to former Chelsea defender Scott Minto alongside your commentator this evening, Joe Shannon.
Thank you, John. And Preston North End are back out on the field of play ahead of the second half, but they're now being joined by those Chelsea players. And Chelsea who created the best chance of the game, but Preston North End have been outstanding defensively so far. They may have rode their luck a couple of times. Scott Minto, former FA Cup winner with Chelsea in 1997, but you have to credit Ryan Lowe's team for staying in the game up to this point.
No, absolutely, they've been superb. You're right, Chelsea have had a couple of chances where they really should have scored, but I think that would have been a bit of a travesty for Preston. I think they've not only defended really well, but they've looked really comfortable on the ball and look as if they want to score. It's not as if they're just trying to play for a replay. They actually believe they can get a goal, and if they do get the first goal here tonight, now in the second half, I think it's going to be so important. If Preston get it, I tell you what, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Chelsea. If Chelsea get it, then will Preston actually believe they can come back and somehow take it back to their place? I'm not so sure, but I think bottom line is Chelsea need to improve in that first half because that wasn't good enough.
The second half is underway, no changes for either team. Chelsea playing from left to right, all in royal blue with white socks towards the Matthew Harding end, and Preston North End in their change red kit with dark blue trim, playing from right to left towards the shed end where there are 6,000 travelling supporters who've made the long journey from Lancashire. Lots of empty seats still to be retaken as Chelsea fans file back from the concourse areas, but play is back underway on Talksport 2, and it's Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0. Chelsea with Sterling on the ball now, meandering infield from the right, plays it back to Gilchrist. The Chelsea goalkeeper is Petrovic. Gilchrist on the ball now. Disasi, Colwill and Gusto are the defenders. Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in the holding roles. Sterling, Palmer and Mudryk behind Breuer, and Breuer almost put through there by Enzo Fernandez, whose little threaded one-touch pass nutmegged Liam Lindsay, but Breuer was being held back just enough by the Preston North End man that he couldn't react quickly enough, and it's through to the Preston North End goalkeeper Woodman. Story, Lindsay and Hughes are their back three. Potts and Miller are the wing backs, with McCann, Whiteman and Brown in midfield, and Osmajic and Keane the front two. I'll give you both sets of subs in just a moment. It's a chilly night in West London. Lots of bobble hats and royal blue Chelsea scarves on show here tonight, and the floodlights are on, and Chelsea have it back with young Alfie Gilchrist again in the right back position. The small matter of comparisons to John Terry from some Chelsea fans on social media. Well, look, if he has half the career John Terry went on to have in his playing days, he'll have done well. High ball up towards Palmer inside the Chelsea box. It was long from Enzo Fernandez. It evaded Cole Palmer. It's through to Freddie Woodman. Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0, and here's Scott Minto.
Yeah, if he has a tenth of the career that John Terry has,
yeah, that's true.
Then he'll have done very, very well. But I was saying to John at half-time that I was told by a Chelsea staff member that John Terry himself does rate him very highly, so there's no higher praise than that. But we just saw there Cole Palmer again make that run, and Enzo Fernandez try and find him. We saw that in the first half, where Cole Palmer really should have stuck the ball in the back of the net. Just a little bit overplayed for Enzo, but that's the type of run off the ball that we haven't seen enough of in the first half.
The Chelsea subs, Bergstrom and Bettinelli, the goalkeepers, Gallagher, Maatsen, Madueke, Thiago Silva, Washington, Williams and Golding. And the Preston North End subs, Rees, as Preston North End break down the right-hand side. Potts with the early ball in, cleared away by Disassi. It comes down to Brown, little 1-2. Brown in the area, couldn't control it in front of Colwill. Malo Gusto smuggles it away. Mudryk back to Enzo Fernandez on the edge of the box. And now Chelsea maybe on the counter. It's retrieved though by Ali McCann. Preston North End on the attack again. This time playing towards the end where their supporters are. And they will try and suck the ball into the back of the Chelsea net. Preston subs, Rees, Best, Holmes, Ledson, Woodburn, Cunningham, Frockyar, Cornell and Evans. Here is Miller tearing down the left-hand side and into the box. Gilchrist just enough. He knew he was beaten for pace. Cleared away though by Caicedo, only as far as Hughes. Back in field to Brown, 25 yards out, over the top. Maybe should have done better. A clear shot from a yard or so outside the edge of the D. He tried to bend it into the top corner, nowhere near testing Petrovic. It's Chelsea 0, Preston North End 0. We certainly have a cup tie on our hands on Talksport 2.
We certainly do, and I'm really impressed with Liam Miller. As I say, very difficult when you're up against Raheem Sterling. Would be tempting to say, OK, I'm just going to sit in the hole and make sure that I don't let him get in behind. But because he's a natural winger, he's trying to take on Gilchrist, who actually dealt with him really well. Caicedo came across to mop up, gave the ball away. Could not afford to do that. As I say, this first goal now, as the minutes tick on, are getting ever more important.
Manchester City against Huddersfield in the FA Cup tomorrow, followed by Arsenal against Liverpool live and exclusive on Talksport, and Wigan against Manchester United will be our commentary on Monday evening. And Monday morning, to react to the weekend's action and build up to that game, Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist will be on Talksport Breakfast from 6 a.m. and indeed the England hooker Jamie George will be among their guests. Chelsea now with Enzo Fernandez, looks to angle a high ball wide to Sterling. It's blocked off by McCann, who's there to head it away, the Northern Irishman. And now Chelsea with Palmer, right of centre, wide to the near side and Sterling, 6 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Chelsea fans still retaking their seats early in the second half here. 5 minutes into it, 0-0. Cole Palmer for the Premier League team. Back to the halfway line and Colwill, little touch to Caicedo, back to Disassi, neat triangular play from those three. Now Gilchrist for Chelsea on his full debut for the club. Enzo Fernandez left the centre circle, wide to the far side, the left, and Malo Gusto with the lime green boots on. Taking on Potts, puts it forward towards Breuer. Across comes Story to knock it into touch. Chelsea attacking the Matthew Harding end in the second half, as is customary. Their next 3 games are live on Talksport. They have the first leg of the League Cup semi-final at Middlesbrough on Tuesday night, then a home game against Fulham, and then the return leg. Here is Sterling in the right back position for them. Chelsea aiming for cup success this season. Sterling to the dead ball line, he's blocked off by Miller, has to check back on his left side, play it back to Gilchrist. Gilchrist near side the Chelsea right, on to Sterling again. Preston North End with everybody bar Osmajic, the central striker, back behind the ball. A sea of red between Chelsea and the goal that they crave. Here is Sterling again. They're not moving the ball quick enough here, Chelsea. It's back with Gilchrist at walking pace. Infield to Breuer. Back to Caicedo. Square ball to Palmer. Midway inside the Preston North End half. And no great danger to Freddie Woodman's goal.
No, exactly. And Cole Palmer's dropping off deeper and deeper and deeper. When really, as playing as a number 10, you want him close and just playing off Breuer. Breuer hasn't got the ability to kind of turn, really, in the way that, you want a Chelsea striker to do. We talk about opportunity. At the moment, he's not taking.
Enzo Fernandez, 25 yards out, left of centre, wide to Malo Gusto, left on the edge of the penalty area, level the edge of the 6-yard box, back it goes to Enzo Fernandez, tries to cross it in left-footed, deflected away by Story. It's dropped down to Gusto now. Freddie Woodman has only had 1 save to make in the game, and it wasn't a particularly serious one. It was a save from a Raheem Sterling strike that you'd expect him to make. This is a Preston North End side that cannot keep clean sheets. Chelsea can't really keep clean sheets either. So we should have goals, but it's still 0-0. 7 minutes into the second half in the FA Cup on Talksport 2. The FA Cup, the oldest and the best domestic cup competition anywhere around the world. Maidstone of the 6th tier beat Stevenage of League One today by 1-0. That's the biggest upset of the Saturday afternoon third round ties. Good turn by Sterling to spin away from Hughes. Sterling wriggles into the penalty area. He drives towards the dead ball line. It's a brilliant run. He cuts it back. Ali McCann slides in to block the cross. Chelsea have a corner. Much better.
Much better from Raheem Sterling there. But again, brilliant defending from Preston. He goes past one player, but there's another player who comes in and makes that tackle.
Corner's taken short by Palmer to Sterling. Preston North End switched off. It's pulled back to Disassi, who hammers it high into the Matthew Harding lower tier. And Preston North End, for all of their diligent defensive work, were caught a little on the hop there, but Chelsea couldn't take advantage, and it's still goalless.
Yeah, it was a clever, quick corner, but from 1 to 11, where would Axel Disassi actually be if you want him to have a who you want to have a shot in the opposition box?
Number 10, probably, I think. Just about. Although
I'd probably have Petrovic above him.
Well, he did score, didn't he? Disassi against Liverpool on the opening weekend, not scored since. Swansea won Morecambe 0 in the FA Cup. Charlie Patino, the Arsenal loanee, has scored for Swansea, who have Luke Williams in the dugout for the first time. Luke Williams, the former Notts County boss, who's been appointed at Swansea this week. Chelsea have possession with Sterling, the number 7. Sprightly turn away from 2 in red, and then Mudryk was tripped by Whiteman. Chelsea have just upped the tempo in the last couple of minutes, and you can occasionally see those flurries, those flashes of Premier League quality, and when they do come, Preston North End find it hard to deal with them, Scott.
Well, at the moment, they're defending really well, but they're starting to look like a boxer a little bit on the ropes.
And Mudryk trying to tease it through to Sterling via deflection. Sterling edge to the D, spins, turns. Mudryk trying to take over, was shot to the ground. No free kick given by the referee, Thomas Bramall. Hacked away here by Story. Into touch, that'll be a Chelsea throw. Level with the edge of the 6-yard, with the edge of the 18-yard line.
And we talked about intensity. You don't always have to make substitutions to get better. Each individual person, just up your own 10% in terms of intensity. Play the ball quicker. And really, this Championship side shouldn't be able to live with them, but they are so far.
We've had some FA Cup thrillers today on the Talksport network. Make sure you download the Talksport app. That way you can swipe between both stations at your leisure. Earlier on Talksport, we brought you Sunderland 0, Newcastle 3. And what a game on Talksport 2 across the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Stoke 2, Brighton 4. Very spirited showing from Stoke City. That one of 9 commentaries from the third round that we're bringing you from last Thursday, through until Monday. Preston North End have got a player down on the far side of the field. As we look at it, I think it's Jordan Story, and he's going to receive some treatment as the physio makes the long trek from the near side of the field all the way to the far side, that right touchline where Story needs to get some treatment.
Trust me, Joe, physios are as fit as the players nowadays. There's not like it used to be back in the day. But I think this will help Preston a little bit, because Chelsea have upped it in terms of intensity. Look like they're trying to turn the screw, get that goal. I think this will just help Preston just sort of kill the game a little bit. And then once it restarts, try and get back to how they were playing in the first half.
Preston North End's last win over Chelsea was a long, long time ago. Way back in February of 1958. I beg your pardon, it was Osmajic who was receiving some treatment on the far side. Having seen a replay of it again in our commentary position, we've got a monitor here that our producers kindly provided. There wasn't much actually in the challenge. Osmajic will be able to carry on. Preston North End will be temporarily down to 10 men. Ryan Lowe is bellowing instructions at his players as the free kick is hammered long by Story, high to the corner of the penalty area where Will Keane was waiting. Was well dealt with though by Levi Colwill, and Chelsea trying to build a counter-attack with Palmer. He's played it away from Ali McCann. McCann though is back to get across Palmer, send it back to Andrew Hughes. Hughes will clip the ball high over the halfway line, the left-sided centre-half. Axel Disassi is there, tall and slender, to win it back for Chelsea. We've got a cup tie on our hands now. 57 minutes play. We're ticking towards the hour mark, and it's still 0-0. Chelsea from left to right towards the Matthew Harding end. Dribbling forward is Malo Gusto. Back now to Mudryk. Mudryk with the blonde hair. Chips it in field to Caicedo. Corner of the penalty area. Goes down under the challenge of Story. And then nothing given by the referee. I think it would have been soft. Mudryk there to win it back and play it back to Malo Gusto. Breuer! Header in! Chelsea lead! Wonderful cross and a flying header from Armando FA Cup goal for Chelsea in front of the Matthew Harding end, and it's the Premier League team who make the breakthrough just before the hour mark. Chelsea 1, Preston North End 0. Fine cross, fine header.
Absolutely, and that's what you want, Broja. We talked about opportunity, and in terms of his touch, his ability to hold up the ball or maybe even take the defenders the other way, not quite been good enough on the night, but if you can get yourself in the right place at the right time and have a header like that, great ball in for Malo Gusto. Obviously being a left back, but a right-footed left back, he's able to come onto his right foot. It's a really good cross. It's flat, and Broja makes the run, gets in front of his defender. Great header, and Woodman got no chance whatsoever. I have to say Chelsea have stepped it up in the second half. A little bit harsh still on Preston, but it's all about moments. And they found a moment there.
Oh, and the goalkeeper's in trouble, Woodman. He got so lucky. Straight from the restart, his clearance charged down by Broja, who would have been through, but for the lucky ricochet that took it straight to the foot of Woodman. And he was outside of his penalty area as well, so he wouldn't have been able to pick the ball up. And if he had done, he probably would have been sent off. He's fuming with his defenders, but Woodman was seconds away there for being very red-faced indeed. And then Broja would have had his second goal in a minute.
No, that's a deflection to have a go at defenders. I'm sorry, it's all on Woodman. There's no doubt about that. He's got to make sure that Broja doesn't get a touch on that. He got very, very lucky. And I tell you what, if Broja did get lucky there and was able to put the ball into an empty net, I wouldn't have fancied Preston to come back from 2-0 down. 1-0, they're still in the tie, but 2-0, no, I wouldn't have seen it.
Broja's first goal since October, his second of the season. Mudryk down the left wing for Chelsea, far side of the field. We're in the 60th minute. Chelsea lead by a goal to nil. Mudryk's delivery, Broja again! Over the top! So close to that second goal. He beat Woodman to it, and suddenly Preston North End are floundering beneath the floodlights here. Chelsea are all over them, and Armando Broja could have had a couple already.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? All the pretty football, pass, and yet Chelsea look the most dangerous when they stick the ball in the box. And Broja, you have to say, he's quick, he's tall, and he's good in the air. His movement is good, and that could easily have been number 2. As I say, if Chelsea get this second goal in the next few minutes, I do think the tie is over. I don't see Preston coming back into it. So it's very important. Sorry, Joe. Very important for the away side to not concede in the next few minutes.
Double change for Chelsea. Standing ovation for Alfie Gilchrist on his full debut. And how ironic, the player at the very start of his career, replaced by 39-year-old Thiago Silva, still going strong in a Chelsea shirt. Chelsea's oldest ever outfield player. And it'll be a double change because Mudryk is heading off, and I think it's Noni Madueke, who's been in great goal-scoring form of late, who is going to come off.
Well, I'm surprised to see Thiago Silva come on. I think, again, that's a massive compliment to Preston. You don't really want someone of his age to be warming up on the sidelines and coming on. We know that Middlesbrough on Tuesday is a massive game. But it goes to show how much Pochettino wants to keep that clean sheet and needs senior players in there. But Alfie Gilchrist can be very proud of his full debut today. I think he defended really well, looked very comfortable on the ball, and there's a big future ahead.
Chelsea heading for the 4th round, leading by a goal to nil. And Stamford Bridge is rocking with noise now. And Chelsea have shuffled the pack defensively, so Gusto to right back, Disasi and Thiago Silva, and then Colwell at left back. That was more the sort of selection that you might have expected from Chelsea coming into the game. Gilchrist was the wild card selection, if you like. Madueke now onto the field as well with his very bright lime green boots on. The fleet-footed Madueke, who has scored 2 goals in his last 2 games. But it's Armando Broja who's given Chelsea the lead here against Preston North End. It was a fine header, a brilliant ball in from Malo Gusto, and he could have doubled the lead just moments later.
Yeah, he was unlucky there. Again, once you've got that goal, gives you a lot of confidence. Chased down the goalkeeper, but for a little bit of luck, the ball could have fallen for him, and he would have been running into an empty goal.
And as you say, Scott Minto, the quality from Chelsea coming from relatively direct play into the box. You get your delivery right, and you've got a striker who can finish. And Broja did just that.
Well, Preston have been very comfortable with Chelsea just playing in front all the time. They're able to get that organised sort of back 5 and then the holders in front. Once you put the ball in the box, if you've got good movement, it's very difficult to try and defend.
Well, I think Preston North End might be about to take off both strikers in a moment, because Ched Evans and Emil Rees are stripped and ready to come on in that change kit, the red of Preston North End, and they are both strikers. Rees has had a great history of scoring goals in the past for Preston North End, a one-time 20-goal-a-season man, but he had a horrible injury that kept him out for pretty much a year. Here is Breuer for Chelsea. Score of the only goal of the game so far on Talksport 2. Chelsea 1, Preston North End 0. 63rd minute. Forward by Enzo Fernandez to Sterling. Driving into the area. Sterling still going. Brilliant run. Past 3 in red. Stopped to the last by the sliding challenge of Whiteman. And Preston North End scramble it away. And I mean scramble it away. Sterling danced through the defence and was so close to getting his shot away, but for the last-minute intervention, and now the referee has pulled it back for a free kick. And here come the Preston North End changes. Keenan Osmajic off, as we thought. Evans and Rees on. Scott Minto.
Yeah, clearly Ryan Lowe realising his team are under pressure, and the front two have worked hard, and now it's time to get some fresh legs on. You have to say Chelsea have really stepped it up, been by far and away the better side in the second half. And you know, Sterling going onto the left, I think he feels really comfortable there. He can go down the line, but he can also obviously come inside. Madueke loves to play on that right-hand side and come inside on his left foot. And if they're able to put balls in the right places with the movement of Breuer, you know, you do feel that a Chelsea second goal is coming.
Sheffield Wednesday 3, Cardiff 0, a latest score. Swansea 1, Morecambe 0, also in the FA Cup. Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 0. Chelsea lead here by a goal to 0, and you're up to date on Talksport 2. Tomorrow, Manchester City against Huddersfield at 2, Arsenal against Liverpool at 4:30. Both on Talksport, and the Arsenal game is exclusive to Talksport. On Monday evening, we've got Wigan against Manchester United, a great tie to end the third-round ties for this year in the FA Cup. Here's Noni Madueke for Chelsea, raining away down the right-hand side, scampering into the penalty area, angle against him, weaving one way and the other. Oh, he nearly dummied the defender, but Whiteman, who ended up on his backside, slid in at the vital moment. Out of play for a Chelsea corner. Chelsea second here, finishes the tie.
I tell you what, Madueke, he went one way, went the other. Whiteman was falling over, and yet just have an outstretched leg, was able to get a touch and kick it out for a corner. Madueke went on a one-on-one with Freddie Woodman there, so it's a really important touch.
Corner in front of the Matthew Harding end for Chelsea. Chelsea fans singing Chelsea songs behind the goal. Palmer will take it. It'll be a left-footed in-swinger. They're all on their feet, those supporters. 20 minutes into the second half. Palmer floats it in high. The header is in for 2-0 to Chelsea. And darting in at the near post and getting a thumping header to it was Thiago Silva off the bench to make it 2 and send Chelsea surely into round 4 of the FA Cup. The 39-year-old rising highest to pump it past Woodman. Chelsea 2, Preston North End 0.
Well, he's not only a fantastic defender, but he can also do that down the other end as well. Again, it's about the movement and the great ball that came in from the corner. Fantastic movement, great header. Freddie Woodman gets a touch to it, but the power of the header means that he wasn't able to keep it out. I think the Preston defenders would be really disappointed. He was able to run across all of them. No one blocked the run. And Woodman himself, I think, might be thinking, could I got my hands up quicker? But I think that second goal is absolutely crucial for Chelsea. They really have stepped it up in the second half, you have to say. It was too pedestrian in the first half. Ryan Lowe would have been delighted with his side. And again, don't always have to make substitutions to make it better, but I think they've been brilliant from the start of the second half, and Thiago Silva coming on, getting that second goal. Very, very important one in terms of this tie.
And Thiago Silva's name is being chanted, and the VAR did check the goal for a possible offside. I'm not sure where that offside was coming from, no idea, but
from a corner.
The check is over. Oh, apparently so. That's what was coming up in front of us on the big screen. VAR check for offside, no offside, and check complete. So strange. Oh, given away by Lindsay. Chelsea through again here with Palmer. Palmer into the area, brought down by Whiteman. That was a cynical foul. Free kick to Chelsea right on the edge of the box. That's a yellow card without any question at all. 2-0 to Chelsea, heading into the final quarter here on Talksport 2.
Well, he had to bring him down. It was really dangerous. We know that Cole Palmer, how good he can be. That goal against Luton was just superb. And he was in a position where Luton, once he got into the box, not able to make a tackle. Raheem Sterling was to his left, so that was another option. And in the end, Whiteman just took the foul, took the yellow card. But I tell you what, very dangerous position right now.
Raheem Sterling standing over the free kick just to the left of the edge of the D. And Chelsea are surely going to be in the hat for the draw for round 4, which is on Monday night. Chelsea's next game away at Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. That again is live on Talksport, as is their home game with Fulham next Saturday lunchtime. And Chelsea standing over it now, with Sterling the man to surely strike it goalwards. Right on the edge of the penalty area, slightly left of centre. Sterling to hammer it! It's 3! Raheem Sterling placed it to perfection. No chance for the goalkeeper, and 3 of the best in the second half for Chelsea, romping into round 4. Chelsea 3, Preston North End 0.
Absolutely brilliant from Raheem Sterling. Actually wouldn't be my first choice on a free kick. I'll tell you what, clearly he said, no, this is mine. I'm having it. I'm the senior pro. I believe I can stick this in the top corner. And he certainly did just that. And again, we talked about Chelsea stepping it up. They've showed their class in this second half. It was all about Cole Palmer winning the foul in the first place. Perfect position for any attacker. Really difficult for any goalkeeper, but you still have to get up and over the wall. And he did that with his side foot, but with pace. Up, down, Woodman no chance. 3-0, surely that's tie over.
And that's 3 goals in 11 minutes in this second half to wrap things up for Chelsea. And Raheem Sterling, an FA Cup winner in 2019 with Manchester City, is on the score sheet for the 7th time this season. And he will surely beat his goal tally of last year, Sterling, which I believe was 9 when he finished as joint top scorer. A shame for Preston North End, because they had defended so well, but they haven't recovered at all since that first Chelsea goal scored by Breuer, and now there's no way back for them. 20 minutes to go, surely not Scott Minto.
No, I can't see it, and I think it is harsh. I think they were really good in the first half. I don't see this as a 3-0 game, but just when you're waiting for Chelsea, do they have the ability to step it up? Well, we know they have the ability and they have the potential, but are they able to? They've done just that. I think that first goal really was, I said about how important it would be, has proven to be.
Chelsea coming forward again now with Sterling, through to Armando Breuer, chance for his second, round the goalkeeper, off the line by Hughes. It's come back to Madueke. Breuer did everything right, but from a tight angle, Hughes was able to get back, and he's gone down and stayed down. Might have collided with the post there, Andrew Hughes. Chelsea have it now with Gusto. Gusto near side the right, back in field to Palmer, spins away from 2 in red, lays it square to Enzo Fernandez, out to the left and Sterling. Sterling corner of the area, goes for goal, deflected! Into the side netting, a corner for Chelsea. Where has this Chelsea come from? They were pedestrian in the first half, but they're all over Preston North End now. This could be any score.
Well, if they could bottle this and use this type of performance in the second half the rest of the season, then I'll tell you what, I think Chelsea can finish in a European place. They've been superb in this second half. Raheem Sterling on the left, he's been much better coming inside. Breuer, really good movement. The crosses have come in at the right time, but they've been playing quicker, and they're not stopping at 3.
Well, this will be 5 wins from 6, which adds weight to your theory. In by Enzo Fernandez, drops to the far post, Breuer goes in, and he can't smuggle it home. It was clattered away by Ali McCann onto the shins of Armando Breuer, and it flew behind and into the Matthew Harding end. But Chelsea are really rampant here, and Scott Minto, though Chelsea are your former side, just give us an insight maybe into what those Preston North End players are feeling at the moment. How difficult a last 15 minutes or so could it be for those Preston North End players now?
No, look, it'd be really difficult, and it'd be really, you know, even being Chelsea, I certainly don't want them to be losing by 4 and 5, because I don't think they deserve that, and Ryan Lowe doesn't deserve that. But what they need to do is keep themselves very solid, because at the moment they are so open to that counter-attack.
3-0 to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. 18 minutes of normal time left. Preston North End on the attack with Potts. They'd love to get a goal for their 6,000 away fans. Potts has won them an opportunity to try and create one from a corner here. And make no mistake, if they do score, there'll still be a big cheer from the shed end. They're heading for 5 defeats from 6, but they've been raucously backed by the away fans. At home to Bristol City next in the Championship. They are 5 points off the playoffs, so they need to fix their form. They're going to bring on Kian Best in a minute. Preston North End. They might try and do that now, I wonder. Or is Whiteman going to take the corner first? No, he's not. The change is going to be made. And off goes Andrew Hughes. And here comes Kian Best. Before that corner's taken, Whiteman has left the ball down by the corner flag. And does he want somebody else to take it instead, maybe? Or perhaps the newly arrived Best will go across to take the delivery. He is left-footed, and that's exactly what he's going to do. His first touch is going to be to take a corner here at Stamford Bridge. The game is surely up. 3-0 to Chelsea now. Though Preston North End have rightly sent plenty forward in the red shirts for the corner. In by Best, low in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and up went Story, got a touch on it, nodded down to Potts. It could be smuggled home by Rees, hooked away by Disassi, bicycle kick from inside the 6-yard box. Now it's come to Evans, floated delivery high in from the right, down went Rees in the penalty area. Referee eventually says goal kick. 3-0 to Chelsea. Let's get the latest from the Riverside in the FA Cup. It's Middlesbrough against Aston Villa, and here's Talksport 2's Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 74 gone here, Joe. Still Borough 0, Villa 0. We've seen Borough bring on Latte Lath and Johnny Howson as Michael Carrick look to change it up. They've not created an awful lot, but they're keeping Villa at arm's length. Unai Emery's just brought on Douglas Luiz, Moussa Diaby, Nicolas Zanolio and Ollie Watkins as Villa try and win this game. They've got about 15 minutes left. Borough 0, Villa 0.
Thanks, Mark. And Chelsea going to bring on David Washington in just a moment. Haven't seen a great deal of the 18-year-old Brazilian. Made his debut for Chelsea as a substitute in late October. That's his only appearance for the club since joining from Santos. And Conor Gallagher is also going to come on for Chelsea, so it'll be a double change. Arm around the back of David Washington from Maurizio Pochettino. Some last-minute instructions going in. And the teenager takes those on board. And he'll replace Armando Broja, who could be a really important player for Chelsea over the next few weeks, in particular Scott Minto, and he got his goal today.
Well, I think that will give him a lot of confidence, of that there's no doubt. And Nicholas Jackson would say being away, it's a wonderful opportunity over the next month or so for him to show that he can be that man to lead the line for Chelsea. I'm not quite sure his hold-up play is quite good enough. I'm not quite sure Nicholas Jackson's is quite good enough either. So, as I say, that goal would have helped him a lot in terms of confidence.
Gallagher for Palmer is the other change. 14.5 minutes to go. Once we're done here on Talksport 2, we'll bring you PGA Tour live from Hawaii for the curtain raiser of the new golf season, and then live NFL commentary into the early hours of Sunday morning. Steelers at the Ravens tonight, live on Talksport 2, and then the FA Cup football resumes tomorrow. Chelsea on the attack again. They've got 14 minutes plus stoppage time to add to their goal tally. Conor Gallagher turning away down by the corner flag and winning a corner off Jordan Story. Well, somewhere there was an injection of attacking impetus into this Chelsea performance, and you said it, Scott Minto, actually just before the goal. You don't always have to make subs to do that.
No, absolutely. I think they stepped out from the start of the second half, Chelsea. I think Mauricio Pochettino have been asking for more.
Corner taken short to Gallagher. He was left unmarked. Gallagher back to goal. Back to Sterling on the edge of the area, faced up by Whiteman. Now Gallagher again in a congested area down by the corner of the penalty area. Back to Noddy Madueke to shoot from 30 yards. Oh, and it took a deflection off Washington, who got his head to it. And the flag stayed down 8 yards out. Washington trying to divert the shot goalwards, but he could only send it wide.
Yeah, I do wonder whether he would have been offside. The flag had gone up if it had gone in the back of the net. But I like his movement as the leg was being pulled back for a shot. He's thinking about possible goal, and can he get into a good area where even if the goalkeeper saves it but spills it, he'll be there first.
It's been a great day of FA Cup action. The Tyne-Wear derby that was won convincingly by Newcastle on Talksport. Then here on 2, Stoke 2, Brighton 4, a very exciting tie. Been a great second half here at Stamford Bridge. Preston North End still want to have their say, trailing by 3-0. Kian Best with a looping cross into the penalty area. Evans with his header to the strike partner. Reece into the box. Could come back to Reece, who shoots. There was a foul in there on Thiago Silva. And Chelsea will get a free kick. And the thoughts of George Petrovic and co, no doubt turning towards potentially keeping what is a relatively rare clean sheet. It would be a second clean sheet in 6 matches for Chelsea if it were to stay that way. Really interesting, Scott Minto, your take on Chelsea potential European ambitions in terms of where they are now. 3 points off 7th, 11 off 5th and 12 off the top 4. Who knows how far Chelsea could go this season in the Premier League?
I think they could definitely finish 7th. I think they could definitely finish 6th if they're able to get a good run. I think 11 and 12 points off 5th and 4th, and we know that 5th could be a Champions League place for next season. We won't know until the end of the season, but I think that's too far because you're asking for a lot of points and getting ahead of a lot of teams.
Noni Madueke down by the dead ball line. He's taking on the defender, Miller. Noni Madueke twisting and turning. He's laid it backwards now to Gallagher. Chelsea at walking pace all of a sudden. Malo Gusto tempted to dink across in from the corner of the box. A couple of air kicks. He goes back to Caicedo. Caicedo infield. Again, corner of the penalty area. Square to Gallagher. Onto Madueke. Edge. There's an instant shot. Rising left-footed drive over the top. No backlift whatsoever, but he didn't need it. Couldn't keep it down though.
Yeah, he'll want to get on the score sheet again, won't he? I think he's one of those who was knocking on the Mauricio Pochettino's door saying, I want to play. And to be fair to him, since he's got minutes on the pitch, he's been absolutely excellent. But, you know, going back to where they could finish in the league, as long as they look like they're progressing in the second half of the season, Joe, then, you know, I think there'll be a lot more belief and, you know, happiness around Stamford Bridge. I think there's no doubt about it. What happens in the summer is going to be absolutely crucial in terms of recruitment. They need a top class striker. If they get that, they've been creating the chances, then who knows what could happen next season.
Well, they will see their injury list surely start to wane, Chelsea. Chilwell and Chukwuemeka not too far away, we hear. Lavia suffered a setback and Kunku wasn't in the squad today, maybe being saved for next week.
Yeah, and look, Malo Gusto I think has done really well, but there's no doubt about it, Reece James and Ben Chilwell are very important members of this Chelsea side. When those two are playing, they add such great width going forward and good defenders as well.
10 minutes to go, Chelsea on the attack, leading 3-0 against Preston North End of the Championship. Noni Madueke down by the inside right channel, back to Malo Gusto, first time cross headed away, only as far as Enzo Fernandez. It's retrieved by Sterling. And Sterling on the far side left wing position, infield to David Washington, back out wide to Enzo Fernandez, little nudge towards Sterling, swept into touch by Liam Lindsay. It's 3-0 to Chelsea in the FA Cup on Talksport 2 with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Yeah, and Preston will just settle for 3-0 now. They're very much on the back foot. Find it really hard to get forward into the final third, let alone try and get a shot on target and test Petrovic. They really have been outclassed in the second half. I think it would be really unfortunate for them if they were to concede a fourth.
Malo Gusto twisting onto his right foot and shooting, beaten away by the goalkeeper. Preston North End a faded force in the game now. It's a shame really, because they were really competitive in the first half, Scott, but they haven't been able to live with Chelsea, as you say, in the second. Have Chelsea just upped the tempo? Has that been the key thing, moving the ball quicker?
Absolutely. You know, it's all about Chelsea had that extra gear and Preston haven't.
Oh, what a run by Conor Gallagher, who shoots left-footed now, blocked by Lindsay from inside the penalty area. Gallagher spun away from 3 red shirts in one quick, fluid motion, and he rolled his shot goalwards, but it was turned away by Lindsay. Chelsea win the ball back yet again. 8.5 minutes to go. These Chelsea players who've come on, you get the sense that they really feel there's a goal in this for them here. And we may not have seen the last of the scoring. Breuer, Thiago Silva and Sterling the scorers so far. Here's Madueke. A couple of step overs, the number 11. Back in field with that left foot to find Caicedo. Now Enzo Fernandez, middle of the Preston North End half. Preston North End with everybody back behind the ball. And for the strikers who came on, Evans and Rees when the game was potentially still in the balance a little bit. It's a thankless task in particular now. Levi Cole on the overlap crosses, cleared away by Jordan Story, and Potts has to keep the ball in by the dead ball line. Potts being faced up by Colwell and forced back towards the corner flag, and he's conceded a corner under great pressure. That was the sort of challenge that Preston North End were coming out on top in the first half, but every single challenge now seems to be going Chelsea's way. And maybe no great surprise that that's the case. Corner taken short by Enzo Fernandez to Gallagher, and Sterling forming the other player in that triangle on the far side, the left wing. Back out wide to Enzo Fernandez again, led with the edge of the penalty area. Gallagher plays it back 10 yards or so to Sterling. Sterling looks up, square ball to Colwell, the tall defender. Back out to the left at Enzo Fernandez again. David Washington among those lurking in the middle. No great movement from Chelsea in the final third here. And 7 to go. Here is Enzo Fernandez, infield to Manu Gusto, a long way out, trying to knock the ball straight through the middle. It's come back to him via deflection. Manu Gusto trying to force his way through, and eventually Potts was there to send it back to the goalkeeper, who hammers it high and long downfield. I wonder whether there were any selection dilemmas from Maurizio Pochettino ahead of the trip to Middlesbrough.
Well, no, we said there's opportunities among the Broja. Again, I talk about his open play not being quite good enough, but he scored, so that's really important. Madueke's come on, he's made a real difference, there's no doubt about it.
Madueke, corner of the penalty area again, near side the right. 2 goals in his last 2.
Raheem Sterling been better in the second half, certainly when he's moved over to the left-hand side as well.
Washington wins a tackle not once but twice on the edge of the box, and Chelsea still look dangerous here, looking for a fourth. Conor Gallagher, congested area, a sea of red shirts in front of him. Madueke sprays it wide to the left, and Sterling one-on-one with Potts. He jinks in field. Raheem Sterling on his right foot, thought about a shot, should have gone for goal earlier surely. Now Caicedo forward to Sterling, back to Caicedo, on to Sterling, wriggles away, Sterling through, and it surely will be tapped in. It is Enzo Fernandez, but the flag is up, and the flag denies Chelsea a fourth, and Chelsea, if anything, guilty of overplaying there. No goals, still just 3-0 to the Premier League side.
Yeah, and I think you're right when you said a few seconds earlier that Raheem Sterling was coming inside. He was on the edge of the box, he should have shot, but they found a way with him and Caicedo having little 1-2s within the box. And I think the ball sort of flicked up. Someone got a touch, which meant that it certainly wasn't a pass, I don't think. Not an intentional one from Raheem Sterling, but there's no doubt about it. He's still being checked for a disallowed goal and offside, but I'm pretty sure even from here we can see that Enzo Fernandez was in an offside position.
He did seem to be clear, but VAR is checking this. Preston North End are going to bring on Brian Ledson and Dwayne Holmes very shortly. And still the check continuing. Referee clearly in communication with Tony Harrington, the VAR. And a prolonged check here. And will he be told to change the on-field decision, I wonder, Thomas Brownell? Because, of course, offside is a factual thing. You can't be subjectively onside or not. You're either on or you're off. And initially, decision given as offside against Enzo Fernandez, but I wonder what might happen here as this VAR review continues. Chelsea, by the way, are going to bring on Michael Golding, a 17-year-old England youth international, for his senior debut in just a few moments. And what a moment for him as this check continues. We don't have access to replays here of the incident in our commentary position, so we can't tell you exactly what the VAR is looking at the moment, but clearly it must be pretty tight against Enzo Fernandez, because this check is repeated and continuing. Enzo Fernandez is the man who gets the final touch, and I tell you what, we're looking away towards our right, and a monitor that has been provided for us now, and I think Enzo Fernandez might be onside here, Scott Minto.
Well, your eyes are better than mine, I have to say. The monitor we were looking at, I can't see, but now producer Sal's produced again, and absolutely, yeah, looking at it now,
it's onside to me. Gallagher gets Sterling trying to force his way through. Sterling gets the touch, and it looks as though Lindsay with his back leg is playing Enzo Fernandez onside, but it's extremely close. Is the right boot of Enzo Fernandez maybe in an offside position, the slightest of offside positions.
Well, it's the left boot of Lindsay, or he's kind of also leaning forward, so it might even be his head, which is actually probably and quite possibly keeping Enzo Fernandez onside. I think Fernandez got a little bit lucky.
He's given the goal. Enzo Fernandez scores for Chelsea. It's been a wonderful second half for Mauricio Pochettino, and crowned off in super fashion by Enzo Fernandez after a long VAR check, determined to have been in an onside position, and it is Chelsea 4, Preston North End 0.
Well, look, I have to say it took far too long. That should be seen, should have been done a lot quicker than that. And I also just want to say, I think the scoreline is really harsh on Preston. There's no doubt about it, they've been outclassed in the second half by Chelsea, who really have stepped it up a level or two. And I don't think Preston deserve this, and Ryan Lowe doesn't either. The first half I thought they were superb. 4-0, it's not a 4-0 scoreline, but there's no doubt about it, Chelsea deserved to have won this game. Got a little bit lucky, the ball was kicked against Raheem Sterling. Enzo Fernandez looked like he was in an offside position, but just that left boot of the Preston defenders kept him onside, and it's another goal for him.
Well, that ultimately was the last contribution of the £106.8 million man, and a warm welcome from the Chelsea fans for Michael Golding, the 17-year-old who comes on to make his senior debut. Preston North End get the game restarted on Talksport 2. It's Chelsea 4, Preston North End 0, 90 seconds of normal time to go, but there's been an FA Cup goal at the Riverside. Which way, Mark Wilson?
It's Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 1. It's Matty Cash. It came from a short corner. Ball worked to Cash 25 yards out. He's had a pot shot. There wasn't a lot on. It's taken a wicked deflection to take it past Glover. Glover's been outstanding, but he just couldn't get across to keep it out. Villa looking for a first FA Cup win in 9. We're into the final seconds here. It's Borough 0, Villa 1.
And so the Premier League side will prevail against Championship opposition at the Riverside, surely. Chelsea will definitely beat Preston North End here. As you say, Scott Minto, a 4-0 scoreline may be harsh on Ryan Lowe's team, but Chelsea have been ruthless. And actually, if you go back to that fourth goal, there was a lot of incisiveness and skill in the build-up play from Sterling in particular.
Absolutely, they were more direct. You know, and Chelsea have been more direct. They've been either in terms of passing or in terms of just running with the ball. And that's what you want to see. Again, in the first half, it was too slow. It was pass, pass, pass. Let's wait for Preston to get into position. And now we find it hard to break them down. Second half, they stepped up the intensity. They're passing forward, passing quicker, dribbling better. The substitutions have made a difference, but it's been better since the start of the second half. And I think Pochettino would have had a few words at half-time.
Into 8 minutes of added time at the end of the game here. 4-0 to Chelsea, and for the Preston North End players it could be a long last 8 minutes or so. Quite a few empty blue seats appearing around Stamford Bridge now. Chelsea have possession with Colwill. Swansea 2, Morecambe 0 in the FA Cup. Jerry Yates has got a second for Swansea, and their new boss Luke Williams, who is on the touchline today, having recently joined the club, very recently joined the club from Notts County. Only a matter of days between that appointment being confirmed and him being on the touchline. But Chelsea have got the job done, and it'll now be 19 FA Cup ties against lower league opposition in a row, from which Chelsea have progressed, and for Preston North End, 18 defeats from 19 in the FA Cup against top flight opposition. The only win they picked up in that time was back in 2008 against Derby County, and Derby, if you remember that season, were dreadful. Here come Chelsea with Caicedo. Nice little 1-2 to play him in, and it's Noddy Madueke from the angle. Saved! Oh, and the rebound fell to Michael Golding. The 17-year-old in front of the Matthew Harding end had the opportunity for a golden start to his Chelsea career, but he couldn't turn it home.
Oh, what a shame for the youngster. Not a shame for Preston, of course, but the ball came to him, and if his feet were just a little bit quicker, maybe if he'd been on the pitch 5 minutes or so longer, he would have been able to move them quicker and just stick the ball into what pretty much was an empty net. Oh, he'd be thinking, oh, what a dream that would have been.
Here is Madueke for Chelsea, who has certainly not finished yet. Nearly 2 through the 8 added. Madueke marauding down the near side right, sets up Malo Gusto on the overlap, thought about a cross, controls instead. Right in front of the corner flag. Lots of noise at Stamford Bridge. Most of it actually from the Preston North End fans. Full credit to the 6,000 who've made a racket throughout.
Yeah, they've been great. They really have, from start to finish.
Colwell, 10 yards to the edge of the box, out to Sterling on the left, infield onto that favoured right foot as always. Sterling back to Gallagher. Gallagher 25 yards out. Lovely crossfield ball to Malo Gusto. Just couldn't quite bring it down inside the penalty area.
No, he's overplayed that. It was actually quite a simple pass for Conor Gallagher. And someone of his quality should have done that a lot better. Malo Gusto found himself so much space. Great run. Just coming in from behind. It should have been just a little dink. A little 9-iron. Instead it was about a 5-iron and he wasn't able to bring that down.
Yeah, it was overhit. Too much club. Well, Chelsea fans heading out to Stamford Bridge now. And our FA Cup coverage will carry on tomorrow at 2 on Talksport for the holders. Manchester City against Huddersfield, and then Arsenal against Liverpool at 4:30. That's live and exclusive on Talksport. Wigan against Manchester United on Monday night. Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist on breakfast from 6 a.m. for all the build-up to that. Raheem Sterling driving forward from the halfway line is evaded. Dwayne Holmes, he pokes it through the middle towards Madueke, cleared by Lindsay, and the referee's pulled the play back for the foul by the diminutive Holmes on Sterling. Yellow card for the substitute. Free kick to Chelsea nearly halfway through the 8 added.
Well, fair play to Chelsea. They're not just sitting back. You know, it's the last thing Preston want, really, and coming at them again and again and again. You know, I wouldn't rule out seeing them get a fifth goal the way they're playing at the moment. They're playing with such confidence. Really important to take this into the next game and the next game and the next game. Performance much better in the second half.
Gallagher's ball wide to the near side to right, and Madueke. Sheffield Wednesday have a fourth against Cardiff City. They need 4-0. Malik Wilkes with that injury time goal. That's in the FA Cup. All championship tie. Madueke level the edge of the 18-yard box again. Infield with his left foot to find David Washington. He's got Golding, the teenager, in the middle. The 18-year-old and the 17-year-old, Washington and Golding. Washington to the dead ball line. Blocked off by another teenager. Preston North End's Kean Best, and that'll be a Chelsea corner once again on the near side.
Well, I said that Preston were hanging on at 3-0. They're definitely hanging on at 4. I don't really think either side wanted 8 minutes from the referee.
3.5 minutes of normal time remaining. Noddy Madueke, having taken the corner short, trying to dribble into the box, he's blocked off by Holmes, and Chelsea have a second corner in quick succession. They make that 8 for the game. They have scored from 1. Thiago Silva is not forward this time. Colwell is forward instead, and so too is Disasi. Conor Gallagher ready to take the corner, short again to Caicedo. Little ball back to Gallagher on the edge of the area, through the legs of the defender, back up wide to Caicedo again. And they're just playing out time here, Chelsea, looking to keep the clean sheet. 3 minutes of added time to go. It's played forward by Caicedo towards Golding, and Golding gets in front of Ledson, at least charges the clearance down. A goal kick. Full time in the FA Cup at Middlesbrough. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 1. Villa finally win an FA Cup game at the 9th attempt. Matty Cash's 87th minute goal, a deflected effort from the edge of the box, won it for Villa. It was harsh on Tom Glover, who made a series of fine saves to keep Villa at bay. Villa also missed some good chances. Conte at the inside of the post. Zaniolo curled a shot inches wide as well. Borough offered a lot defensively on the break. They couldn't quite find the last pass. They were undone. There'll be a test though for Chelsea here on Tuesday in the League Cup, but their FA Cup dreams are over. It's Villa that go through. Borough 0, Villa 1.
And here's Madueke to make it 5. A brilliant block. Could fall to Washington. Saved by the goalkeeper, and then headed off the line by Liam Lindsay. 2 chances right at the end there for Chelsea. Into the last 2 minutes of stoppage time. Madueke denied. And then the goalkeeper made a half save from Washington. Liam Lindsay still had to get it off the line with his head.
Yeah, brilliant play from Madueke. And you talk about opportunities. Well, I mean, he's looked great whether he started or coming off the bench tonight, hasn't he? He's got to start on Tuesday. And that will be a really good game up in Middlesbrough. Why did David Washington try it? I don't know what he tried to do. It wasn't even really a volley. It was ball looped up, just head it. Don't give the keeper a chance to get back into a situation. Head it with pace.
And Chelsea have been absolutely rampant in the second half. Suddenly looking like they could score at will. Here's Colwell on the halfway line, far side the left. Thinks it forward to Gallagher, gets it back, nudges it forward towards Gallagher again. Gallagher about 10 yards from the dead ball line. He's evaded Potts. Gallagher lays it square to Sterling. Sterling in the area, twisting and turning. Can he get the shot away? He does, left-footed into the side netting. Some lovely football from Chelsea throughout this second half. And I think what might encourage Pochettino the most is that they haven't let up Scott Minto, your old team.
No, they haven't. They really haven't. And it's just amazing. I talked about the importance of the first goal, and since that first goal, did you say it went 1-0 to 3-0 within 11 minutes? 11 minutes, yeah. You know, and then suddenly Preston's on the back foot, and just the psychology of football and of life, really. And suddenly when you're 1-2, 3-0 up, you know, it's amazing how you feel like you're full of running. And when you're 3-0 down, you're almost running on the beach. Preston have found it so difficult in this second half. And Chelsea, first half, second half, they're two different sides. But because they were able to step it up and they were able to get that first goal, then second, then third, and now they look like they're almost Premier League winners. Maybe I've gone a bit far there.
Full-time whistle. They're certainly through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. Chelsea have scored 4 in the second half, and they have eased past Preston North End, the Championship club were a robust task for Chelsea to come up against in the first half. Ryan Lowe's team really held their own, but Chelsea stepped it up a gear and showed Premier League quality and class in the second 45. 3 goals in 11 minutes to really get them started. Armando Broja with a headed opener following Malo Gusto's cross. Thiago Silva off the bench to nod home the second via a Cole Palmer corner. Raheem Sterling's free kick made it 3 with 21 minutes to go, and Enzo Fernandez added a 4th after a prolonged VAR check. He was the judge to have been onside. It caps off a perfect afternoon for Chelsea ahead of big games to come in the Premier League against Fulham next Saturday on Talksport, which is sandwiched in between the League Cup semi-final. Both legs against Middlesbrough again will be live on Talksport, but Chelsea have more than got the job done this evening in West London. Through to the fourth round of the FA Cup, the 8 times winners have beaten Preston North End by 4 goals to 0.
Thank you very much, Joe Shannon. Scott Minto alongside, muttering words of Chelsea Premier League winners or something, I think I heard there. But Scott, you didn't get that the upset, so I didn't jinx the game completely for you earlier.
Not quite, John, not quite, no. And obviously I say Premier League winners in jest because Chelsea are a million miles away from that. But I'll tell you what, and forget the fact that they're playing a bottom half championship side. Any team in the Premier League would have struggled against Chelsea in that second half purely because they played to their ability, they played to their potential. They played with quick, incisive passing. They had dribblers who were dribbling at the right time. We put the balls in the box at the right time. The movement was very good. And by the end, Preston were hanging on. It could have been 5, it could have been 6. I think the scoreline is harsh on Preston, but actually how dominant Chelsea were in that second half pretty much shows the class that they do have. And yeah, as I say, I'm only joking about the Premier League winners, but what I would say is if they can bottle that second half and move that into Middlesbrough, move that into the Fulham game and into the second half of the season, then they will be fighting for a European place.
Yeah, well, they do have that semi-final in the EFL coming up Tuesday at Middlesbrough, who obviously we heard just lost there against Aston Villa in the FA Cup, the first leg on Tuesday, of course. And they're missing Nicholas Jackson, one of their joint top goal scorers. He's away at AFCON. And it was important for Armando Broja to get a goal.
It really was. I still don't think he's quite got the ability to be leading the line for Chelsea Football Club and helping them take into the Champions League positions and winning trophies, which is exactly what Chelsea want to get back to. But that would have given him a lot of confidence. His movement on the goal was really good. It was a very good header. And I think it helped turn the game because once Chelsea scored that first goal, it went bang, bang, 3-0, and then the game was over and they were able to play however they wanted. But they have fantastic ability, there's no doubt about it. But that first goal, I think, was really important for Chelsea. So Armando Broja can give himself a little pat on the back, and I'm sure that Pochettino can as well. And he can move forward and hopefully do the same on Tuesday night.
Well, you saw the confidence it almost gave him straight away, because he nearly scored a very similar goal a couple of minutes later. So yeah, you can see exactly what that does for his confidence. Also, big 6 months coming up for Raheem Sterling, the Euros in the summer, and we know that he's been left out of the last few squads by Gareth Southgate, and him getting a goal and him impressing, I mean, that's all he can really do if he's to get back in that England squad.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually playing at the level that he did early part of the season, where I felt he should have been in the squad, and I think he needs to be almost superb in almost every single game to get back into Gareth Southgate's Euro squad. I don't quite know what's happened there. I think he's shown that what he's done for England has been absolutely brilliant. I think you can rely on him, but I think he has dropped off a little bit more just when you wanted him to play even better. So I think the performance in the second half tonight would have given him a lot of confidence, and hopefully he can take that forward and be in the England squad come the Euros, because I genuinely believe we can win it, and I genuinely believe that he can play a big part in that.
For Preston North End, 14th in the Championship, lots of pressure on the manager there to have got to half-time and to have, looked like they could have got a goal there and got in, potentially even leading. I know the score, as you've said in the commentary, doesn't reflect so well on them, but, there are positives to take from this.
There are a lot of positives to take, and I don't care who was the manager of Preston North End today. Once Chelsea stepped it up in the second half, John, then no one would have been able to stop them. Look, I think Ryan Lowe is under pressure. I think it's all about the league. No one really expected them to come here and sort of even take them back to Deepdale, let alone get a win. But at half-time, they would have been absolutely delighted with what happened. Now there are positives to take, but they've got to head to the next game, Bristol City, somehow try and find a win, because it's not been good enough. 4 wins out of 19 isn't good enough, and they don't want to be falling down the table. They're still only 5 points off the playoffs. I don't see them getting there come the end of the season, but if they can finish top half, I still think that's very good from Ryan Lowe, considering it's a bottom 8 budget.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Thank you very much, former Chelsea defender Scott Minto, alongside Joe Shannon for that commentary there. Of course, Chelsea taking on Middlesbrough on Tuesday on Talksport 2 in the EFL Cup semi-final. Some more results from today. Middlesbrough